Lady heads down the corridor. At that very moment, someone turns to her and screams that after all, she told me to wait. Housemaid asks where she's going, and all got ready such uncollected at-night shirt. Let the lady does not say that, all because of the bug in her breakfast, and after all she said that, this error. Think about it just now, she raised so many noise, because of such a trifle. After all, really Lady Giselle doesn't understand that such behavior disgraces not only her, but also her last name families. Home heroine understands that she can't anymore this takeout. These girls are discussing her right behind her back, but after all, they total only maids who should serve his own lady. Home heroine thinks that this excellent, and she is ready to put up with the contempt and mockery of the servants. But she can't stand what's happening to her forever, are collapsing all sorts troubles. When young woman, she goes outside and it starts pouring down on her, rain. And she screams, why is this happening to her? All! The main one, the heroine, is already sick of this damn world. And the lady was reborn as a heroine tragic love story. This story, it was called, You'll Be Sorry If I Go to Sleep Forever. Home heroine is the daughter of a legendary magician. She loses their magical abilities, and infinitely suffers. After immersion into eternal sleep, under mysterious circumstances, father and mother. The lady ended up with her father's friend's family, how reception daughter. And at first her life took shape well, but soon the Count went on a trip to return the memorabilia, Count Sayers things. In the absence of Count Fleuret, his younger sister and half-sister Aunt Giselle, Lady Mariposa took over responsibilities hostesses' estates. Soon as the Count left, Lady Mariposa started mercilessly to torment Giselle. And the Marquis Berthaud, who slandered her, used her for her own success. And Duke Le Chaniel, who stole her mother, pretending that takes care of her. But also, the worst thing is that higher society misinterpreted situation, and blamed Giselle, is that she flirted with two men. After what she was given the humiliating title of Noainagao, woman for everyone. Home heroine understands that she was ready to close eyes on all this slander and insults, as well as derogatory nickname. But think about it just now, these two pieces of garbage are main male characters. And what will happen next? Meaning, from them regrets. But at that very moment, the girl read another line, and was shocked. I saw that Giselle fell into eternal sleep. Maybe everything because of the fact that home heroine a little I drank, or maybe because of the disgusting clients who were able to drive her to the brink that day. But she was so touched unhappy life Giselle, who wrote evil things without thinking comments. And he came answer that, this buff the main character, but the main heroine I thought menacingly, they know whether they at all meaning this word. After what she started arguing with another commentator, and then went sleep. Lying on the couch, girl I asked myself, is it really so? Them I don't feel sorry for Giselle at all. But when she opened eyes, then in shock, I realized that doomed. When I came to my senses, I remembered my whole past life. Is no wonder that this familiar closet and this moldy blanket called her such feeling déjà vu. Home heroine understood that. It's incredible. After all, she was reborn in a novel. And she became that one heroine who regretted in her last life. That is Giselle Fleuret. In other words, the only thing that her waiting is the pitiful path of the heroine novellas. Now, young woman trips over a stone and falls to the floor. Home heroine a little rises and examines your knee, which aches with pain. It's been 2 years already. Weeks, like lady I remembered my past life. It's exactly the same as Giselle in the original stories. She experiences one misfortune after another. Worse, this period her family just continues accumulate sins, as if the universe itself thirsts her misfortunes. To the girl hard take out ignoring, bullying and harassment. Therefore she thinks, really should live through all these misfortunes, like Giselle. But at that very moment, she understands that this, after all that means, her is waiting the same ending. Heroine, the novella suddenly fell into eternal sleep, without any reason. That's why home heroine understands that she, rather in total, she will end up the same way. In Korea, she had a hard time because of working with terrible clients. Therefore, is it really in this one too? She will have to live suffer until the very end. In this time, one of maids laughs and claims that madam stumbled on the flat place. And the other one claims that need to have the talent to fall like that. Home heroine asks how they can laugh when someone is in pain. Girls from this a little are surprised. Giselle picks up some dirt in her hands and screams, asking why all these failures have befallen her. She throws dirt at the maids and asks what she's doing. I didn't do it right at all. Lady understands that she doesn't care about the original history, and she had already fallen into eternal sleep once. That's why should she really be scared to do this is the second time. After what's on your mind, she adds that refuses be pathetic heroine this novellas. But at the same moment, the lady notices something strange. She understands that rain stopped, but she thinks why this happened. The girl remembers comments about that. If would Giselle behaved otherwise, I would have lost it, his own buff the main character. That's why now young woman thinks, really, this all, because of the fact that she started to behave differently. It turns out that if she will behave otherwise than real home heroine, then she can change ending. Young woman claims that, this great, that's all equals this story with a repentant woman heroine, I never liked it. Since we've already mentioned this, it dawned on her will to act completely differently from original heroine, and this concerns everyone who tormented her, in particular main men's characters. A little time later, the man screams at the lady Giselle, and the lady with red hair is nearby him. The girl screams, what is wrong, creates. And really, she at all went crazy. Home heroine claims that, yes, and she thinks he's definitely going crazy right now. Lady understands that she will force their pay everyone, and as they say, always will be found fish larger. That's why it came time show this crazy. Who's the real psycho here? The lady grins evilly and claims that she will repay to them in the same coin. Woman in this time runs out into the street and screams like young woman dares to behave like this. She also wonders what she's talking about thinks. Home heroine understands that it's time, great moment, to begin to act. In front of her stands the one who constantly mocked Giselle, turned her life was a living hell reason her tears and regrets. One day, Giselle wrote a frank letter to the Lady Mariposa, hoping that this will help them get closer. After all, they both survived the tragedy. But the woman I just said, so that young woman, I didn't dare bring her such trash anymore. Lady Mariposa then burned Giselle's letter as if some kind of dirty trash. A letter written with such effort that even her little hands shook because of him. Before our eyes, Giselle turned into a handful of ashes. After that incident, young woman, I couldn't be sincere anymore to give something to someone, and the torment became even worse, more obvious, after Count Fleuret missing in action. Woman argued that it didn't matter how much talented was father girls, but now she is no more how stupid dumbass. But since already her accepted into the house Fleuret, it has come time to carry your own burden. Now she will clean up like this do maids. The days passed, filled with constant verbal insults and disdain. Heart the girls began to decompose from the inside. After all, no one ever started to treat her like a human being. The only one joy turned out to be a magical talent discovered within oneself, which she thought she inherited from her father. And although big part mana, the girl was already there spent, but Lady discovered that her heart mana on the actual case was enough capacious. Woman screams, really, this non-entity at all deaf and dares whether she her ignore. Let she's not worth it, walks like a pillar, and quickly there. After all, how many times did she repeat to the lady that today, they will announce the engagement to the Viscount Milpian? Home heroine understands that means today, that the very day when life Giselle began to spiral. At that time, there were already rumors about her connections with the Marquis of Berthaud and the Duke of Le Chaniel. At the same time, Lady Mariposa decided issue girl marry a man 30 years older than her. Home heroine says that okay, and she get ready for the meeting right now. Her interlocutor claims that lady at all, I forgot your own place, and instead of be grateful for her fiancé, she and is also indignant. Giselle thinks that, unfortunately, this woman, now all it won't go as planned, she planned. Pathetic life heroine's romantic. The scapegoat fantasy has come to an end. That same evening in the Fleuret Hall, someone says that lady only looked. One of them asks, really? This is the one lady who today engagement, but I heard that this young woman real shameless, but even for such a lady similar, the dress is too much. Marquise in this time is in shock, asks what Giselle is wearing. And the lady answers, madam, that she is so sorry. After all, she was cleaning the hallway and lost it. Check time. Woman furiously wonders how this brat dared to appear in uniform maid. But she understands that now is not the time for this, and it is necessary quicker. I'll fix it, otherwise the engagement will definitely fall through. Marquise claims that girl, how always took care of the maids, and believes that she, today, again helped them with cleaning. Mariposa whispers to Giselle, came up a little bit, and asks what happened to the dress that she bought it for her. Someone else says that this one, the lady really has no shame. After all, she came out to the noble ladies dressed as a maid. Marquise in this time says that if, honestly, there is nothing about the lady that she likes. That's why she doesn't dare to commit more errors in the presence Viscount. But at the same moment, someone reports that arrived Viscount Milpian. At that moment, a man enters the room and turns to Sweet Slark. He claims that finally them love brings fruits. But after all, today's her outfit is quite peculiar, and couldn't she wait to attract his attention? Home heroine thinks that this incredible, and during readings, stories, she didn't pay much attention to him, but really her want issue marry this. Okay, age, but that's all. The rest of it is this loud pursuit be noticed. The man claims that in honor of them, he carefully planned the engagement, laid down their hair, and now they look more brighter and shinier than usually. Markel claims that it seems the Viscount really did put in the effort, many efforts for the sake of today's image. Woman also turns to Giselle and claims that it is time for her and the Viscount to announce their engagement. But the girl replies that no, and she doesn't want to. The woman is shocked, asks what about Giselle such speaks. But lady repeats mine answer, and wonders if it really is her interlocutor went deaf. The woman is in shock, wondering what that brat said. And really? She's really crazy. Heroine understands that. Now she is very different from Giselle, from original stories. She has 3,650 days behind her part. Time work? Young woman, I tried all kinds part-time jobs, starting with meat snack bar and children's cafe, finishing government institution, a call center for a TV shopping mall and a coffee shop. In its last life, I met all types the most complex clients. In other words, the girl is expert in the field of communication with difficult clients. That's why lady wonders if it's time to demonstrate their skills. As a rule, it is better total ignore problematic people, and so it will be better for peace of mind. But with people like Lady Mariposa, which become more angrier because of being ignored, you need to behave at all otherwise. Home heroine asks if she could lady stop shouting, because despite the noise, she has I got a headache because of something unpleasant smell from her mouth. Girl understands that in such a situations, better total aggravate conflict. Woman screams, What did the lady say, and how dare to speak about her like that? Home heroine answers that if she made a mistake, then it brings their apologies, and just stink was such strong that I could barely stand next to her. Marquise screams, how can she dares to say that she stinks? And the only one who leads myself rude and dirty. That's it, Giselle. Home heroine says that, hear how, and then such dirty girl, scoundrel, deserves the privileges of being next to a lady Mariposa. And perhaps this outfit is the most suitable for her cloth. Bye, lady. Something's bothering you, Viscount, asks her wait, and the woman screams, what is she doing? At all does. Home heroine puts on rags and claims that I went crazy and sewed it dress from cast-offs. She also asks what Marquise thinks. After all, really such an outfit is not suitable for such a miserable person as she. Young woman thinks how good it is that I made it in time, hide this outfit before the banquet. Woman screams that there won't be any more tolerate impudent behavior, lady, and make sure that I didn't dare anymore dissolve mine filthy language. Home the heroine, watching this, thinks that that's right. In this world, rules cease to exist. Work only then when case concerns her. That's why Marquise, incapable contain anger, is going to break down on her without caring about decency, just like now. But when woman he spills the wine anyway and goes into shock. Home the heroine, watching this, only smirks. After all, sees in front of him Viscount, who the wig came off. In this time, someone informs his lordship that they arrived. The guy comes out from carriages and says that it is a bit noisy there. After what wonders if something really happened in the hall. Marquise in this time is in shock. She thinks about what she should do. And the Viscount screams, what have they done there? Home heroine asks if everything is okay, whether sir. She also asks Lady Mariposa, why? She did it because they could just talk. The man screams, really? She considers such behavior acceptable, and he had never been treated like that in his life. He had heard rumors, but he hoped that Lady although would fine brought up after, why is he screaming? Officially cancels their engagement, and also screams out to Marquise I didn't dare anymore contact him. The woman immediately turns to Giselle and screams, what is the girl doing? Creates, after all, really, she never figured out where her place, but thanks to her, marriage negotiations with the House of Milpien were torn off. Home heroine thinks, what kind of woman is she? Shameless. Indeed, she did it herself. I did it. But he continues to do it attack. Woman wonders if she really hates him that much family Milpien, and then she will sell girl another family, therefore she will be ready. But then home heroine turns to the lady and asks if it will be whether she, as bold as when Sir Fleuret will return, her brother, the Count, after their divorce, and return to the estate, put condition. Marquise should grow up her and treat her as to my own daughters, but the behavior so far is simply unacceptable. But after all, I never counted her his own daughter. Woman screams out to young woman closed mine filthy mouth, because Count Fleuret is no longer alive. Home heroine understands that, last one, there was news from the Count telegram, in which it was reported that he discovered island spices. After why he didn't get in touch, so everyone just decided that he had fallen into eternal sleep. But the main thing heroine claims that, who knows all sorts of things maybe be. After all, what if the missing Count will return? And how lady thinks he will punish? Does he have a sister who did not take proper care of his friend's daughter? At the end, after all, there is no such law that banned I wish the Count would return to her marriage. After what home heroine turns around and leaves, but her interlocutor only screams out to the girl didn't dare more there come back. However, home the heroine is already leaving from rooms. 5 minutes before the incident, the guy entered the estate. The lady, looking at him, asked, really, this is Duke Kalinos, but they didn't expect him to show up at the banquet. House Kalinos is one of 3 great duchies of the empire. He is famous his own magic, weapons, artifacts, and potions. But the most big he gained fame, thanks to the ruthlessness shown in the north that borders on the lands of monsters. He is famous your own ruthless reprisals against monsters, and they say that his clothes so saturated with red liquid that he looks like a demon. The guy in this time says that maybe it wasn't worth it, come there. He also understands that to him, were more interesting measure extraction deviations, fluids from monsters, crippled one hand, than hang out at social events receptions. His assistant turns to the gentleman and claims that people might misunderstand him because of the red liquids on clothes. The guy sighs after what wipes his hand. The Duke understands that he still has a lot of work to do, but they all equals want see him in secular evening. The Senate family, all of them spend your own time for useless little things. His interlocutor at this time turns to the gentleman and asserts that, as he knows, this time, he should find a companion life, and the guy understands that. Besides, they want him to get married. But he doesn't even know how to behave properly with a lady, so let alone talk about marriage. When the guy approaches the footman, he thinks, shouldn't he at first friendly smile? After what is he doing, stretch smile and asks open door? His interlocutor then answers in a shaky voice that, yes, and asks for mercy. The guy understands that in theory, social etiquette, it is said that smile helps to establish contact faster, and yet books don't lie. But he understands that, if we'll neglect marital debt, then the probability divorce will increase, and this ineffective. No better was to enter into a marriage contract for a certain period term, and after get divorced. He also wishes for this time to find someone who forced, he would shudder at the mere mention of marriage. But the problem is that there is no suitable one there to him lady. However, at the same time, the main heroine comes out from the audience. Marquise shouts at her back that she, after all, She told me to come back right now. The guy is in shock, watches the lady and thinks, really, I came to the social gathering seriously reception. And it also looks like she made a scandal there before leaving. The Duke's assistant asks, is it really so? There were cast-offs, and why? Suddenly the lady is dressed up like that. But Sir turns to the servant and asks if the elders didn't say that no matter what the lady's status is, he will take her as a wife, and the main thing is that there was a marriage. The guy replies that yes, if of course she didn't violate imperial law and is not a commoner. Then the Duke says that, okay, and let the guy cancel all his social events. And also we'll find out personality this strange lady in rags, because it seems like she appeared new object of study, home heroine in this time. She is on the street and thinks how good she is. Lady Mariposa still doesn't know that she owns magic, and even though her mana is almost at 0. However, she's still more simple, is within my power magic wind, evenly enough to guide the flying liquids. And she only, what I was able to break out of plot control, so she has such awesome feeling. After this, no guy will be able to propose to her, and her happy future starts right now. A little time later, Lady rummages through his closet and understands that if she wants to survive all the upcoming events, then she needs strength for this. For example, like a great magician, because he is one of the 5 the best in the empire. They say he is so powerful that even Emperor bows his head before him. Young woman understands that if she will become a great magician, then take revenge it will be easier, and she will be able to fully change written plot. After what home heroine, wondering what's next on the list. First of all, she needs restore your depleted mana. And secondly, find a worthy teacher to study magic. And finally, stock up on artifacts and magical items to become even more stronger. And so that to replenish her mana, it's time for her to visit that place. A little time later, the girl is already at the market. There she is. She walks into the fire-breathing dragon tavern and realizes that what she needs right now is right in front of her. Lady puts the contract on the table and screams, they are looking whether they workers for his restaurant. But after all, I would like to work there. Although consequences wars have not yet faded away, but the era is obsessed with enrichment. After wars got rich, merchants fast rose to the level small landed gentry, and some of them began to buy noble titles for money. In response, nobles started base trading guilds under fake names, and this trading street which controls family Kalinos. In this time, someone approaches his lordship and claims that they received information that the lady he is looking for is there. However, if I wish he would, at least, I would like to look at the list of candidates once. The Duke interrupts his own interlocutor and claims that there is no need for this, and he can throw away the lists. Assistant turns to the gentleman and asserts that this list was compiled by the former Duke himself. The man replies that was needed only if he didn't have it lady for the role of his wife. But since already the lady is there, then the rest doesn't matter values. When they approach one of the establishments, the Duke asks why there is such a huge queue. His interlocutor replies that he himself is not sure. The Duke says the investigation there is no doubt, and perhaps for this, there's still time there something happened. Well, and his interlocutor says that maybe everything rumors are to blame. At the same moment, someone thanks everyone for waiting and goes outside. When these two see this person, then a little are surprised. This turns out home heroine and girl suggests going through and trying freshly baked hot bread. The man claims that he heard that she lives in this area, but this lady surprises him every time. She is confident, invites guests, then arranges culinary performance, and there is a girl at the ball, same was different. But this is not what should be trained the count's daughter, and this lady amazes imagination. Duke at the same moment asserts that to him, need to something prepare, so he perhaps declines. But his interlocutor asks, really the gentleman did not come there to talk to her. The guy understands that since the Duke met this one young lady, then he became very strange. Until now, he has shown interest only to searches rare ingredients, or a demon that can be tamed, and, simply put, he used to lead myself like that when found a new area of research. But then the guy thinks what is going on, and is it really his master fell in love at first sight? Look, home heroine in this time walks down the street and realizes that this is what she needs, and yet this thing even worse than cabbage juice without pesticides, and tastes good. How gutter. Home heroine remembers everything that she did during past days. She did pranks and cool performances. Now lady claims that it was worth it for the first time in a long time. Time use all of its secret tricks. Thanks to her, revenue increased almost 200 times, and she even restored a little mana with the help of potion that I received as payments. It is for this reason she got a part-time job working day at the fire-breathing dragon, the tavern which unofficially owns family Kalinos. Owner taverns claimed that he would double the lady's salary, so asked she doesn't leave, but the girl claimed that she already got what she wanted. She needs it was get it activation potion capabilities mana developed family Kalinos. It failed in sales and was sent to storage in warehouses. Everything this she conceived for the sake of the dragon's claw. Young woman understands that if discarded the potions turned out to be so good, then what could they be the rest? Home heroine throws away the potion jar and realizes that Kalinos is famous magical family, known his own secrecy. For them, there is nothing easier than master magic and brew similar potions. But since the girl can't to get a job as a maid for them, then she thinks that she will have to continue gather potions here and there. At that moment, someone turns to Giselle Florette. When home heroine turns around, then in shock wonders who this man is. It clearly can't be from a minor character to have such a beautiful face. The guy in this time introduces himself and claims that his name is Vientiane Kalinos. He is widely known as Duke Kalinos. Home, the heroine is in shock, thinks, really, that most main villain from original stories. The guy in this time says to the lady wasn't so worried because he wanted to propose to her. Giselle wonders how he knows her name and what means by offer. The guy at that very moment gets down on one knee and claims that ordinary offer. The Duke says he wanted to Giselle Fleurette became his wife. Home, the heroine is in shock, asks, really that's what it's about, she thinks. But her companion interested, maybe should there be one? Another meaning, Giselle, he thinks about what he is talking about, because she just wanted to listen to him, but now he is so handsome face, continues to speak some kind of heresy. Young woman apologizes and claims that she really doesn't understand what he wants. This say, her companion claims that, of course, he is today too much inattentive. He gets it ring from his pocket and asks if she agrees with her lady. Home, the heroine is shocked. Looking at the ring, she thinks, really this cobblestone, this real diamond, but offer becomes all more tempting. But at that very moment, the girl understands what she needs. Pull yourself together. After all, she of course fantasized about that. Will get into the house, Kalinos. But she home a heroine doomed to suffering. Therefore, nothing good from this won't work. Young woman claims that she doesn't know how the Duke treats her. Found. But she doesn't engage in any dubious services, like pretend wife or mistress. The guy claims that if lady agrees to become his wife, then he will pay her 5 billion gold per year. Home, the heroine immediately turns around and realizes that this, after all, enough to buy 2 townhouses in the capital, and is he really offering such the amount for, that she will play the role of his wife. The lady immediately squeezes his fists and asks, really she looks like a mercantile woman idiot who worships money. Young woman also wonders if he really decided that, since she by everyone hateful, then ready to do anything for the ring and money. But at the same moment, the lady wonders how the gentleman was able to find her so quickly, and maybe they continue their conversation at the table. Home heroine thinks about 5 billion, and understands that this more how enough to conquer heart, any modern soul in this capitalist world. A little time later, the guy is already in his mansion. The Duke is pouring green liquid in a test tube, and says that finally, a potion with the right one to him, the effect is ready. But he spent it on it total, only 399 days, 12 hours and 30 minutes. The guy in this time addresses his assistant, and claims that wants to ask him about something. He's wondering if 5 billion gold is not enough. His interlocutor answers that this approximately a decent 3-year budget noble families, and in general, this big money. Then the guy asks what the reason is, because he thought that the lady will definitely agree. Last at night, home heroine, I was sitting with a guy at the table. Young woman asked what exactly she should do. Her companion replied that everything is simple, and let it be she marries him, get married, and then leads myself so terribly, so that his family arose disgust from one thoughts about their marriage. Home, the heroine wondered if he really wanted that she pretended an idiot, and it's no wonder he was looking her after that sad evening with the announcement of her engagement. In addition, during their own numerous part-time jobs, she learned to work with difficult clients, and it won't be difficult for her to copy their scandalous behavior. But still a girl claimed that it's so unexpected, and maybe he'll give her time think about it. She doesn't refuse, it's just necessary. About 3 days to accept solution. Her companion agreed, after what lady claimed that, then she will contact him in 3 days. Home heroine understands that, this enough good offer, but for now it is forbidden lose vigilance. Knowing the nature of the present Giselle, it's definitely not as clear-cut as it seems. It seems at first view, according to basic rules of rebirth into romantic novellas. For a marriage under a contract you need agree without hesitation, but since a partner superior in all respects her, and she is also villain from original history, then it certainly wouldn't hurt for her to be careful. And besides, it will happen very soon incident that will increase her value. For the next morning, someone screams to, lady I woke up. After all now is not the time sleep. Home heroine gets out of bed, and claims that her, after all, sent to the servants, room, due to the terminated engagements. And now, really they ask her quickly return to yourself. At the same moment, one of maids reports that Count Fleurette comes back. Home, the heroine immediately joyfully smiles, and understands that it will finally appear there, the one who will increase her significance. Count Fleurette returned after 5 years. And he's not the only one he came back, but he also brought with him Count Sear's belongings. In the original history of the Count, at first tried to treat Giselle, who was his friend's daughter, kindly. But he used such things, Seher's, how an excuse to leave her in care his own sisters, Mariposa, and neglected by her. However, he also was the only one who later, after Giselle sank into eternal sleep, sincerely burst into tears. In other words, he is the one with whom can restore minimal warm relationship. Home heroine understands that, if now she will be able to attract him to your side, then he will become her ally. That will give her another advantage for survival. But Mariposa will hinder any their meeting, and in such case need to adjust, I'll meet you as if this coincidence. In the original history of Count Fleurette, I ran into a girl next to this fountain. Heroine understands that if she will remain wait for him, but at that very moment, someone turns to the lady and says that, need to only see who violated home arrested and released from his own rooms. Home heroine turns around and realizes that more everything in the world she didn't want to meet exactly with him. For those who always watched, looked down on Giselle and mocked her. A braggart who shouts at everyone corner that he was able to become a great magician. But that's all more a loser who didn't overcome even one magic circle. This is precious son Mariposa Abasan. The guy asks, really? Young woman dares to look at him like that. Look. From what? Such bug, like she decided that will be able to scare him. Home heroine understands that, while she didn't realize that lives inside novel, abyssin often her offended. She always it seemed that she can't do anything about it to do, and even now, even though he understands how worthless he is, everything equally tense. The guy claims that to him, it's disgusting that such disgraceful woman hanging around the estate, how only the Marquise and the Duke will return to the capital, she forever will disappear. Home heroine understands that after he said this one nonsense, she has even the fear disappeared. And is the guy really serious? Is trying intimidate her names these worthless insects? Lady says that if honestly, she same hopes that they will soon return to the capital. After all, then she same will be able to show off to them, skill to use magic. The guy in this time wonders where she got so much from confidence, and talks about magic when she herself has no manicat, I cried. Giselle answers that she taught herself everything perfectly well. A bison claims that magic is not what you can just get it, and she definitely stole some artifact or is just bluffing. Giselle answers that he is mistaken, and asks if he wants. Should he look? The guy asks, really? She throws to him challenge without even having it with you artifact, and it seems that it is not enough, her intimidated. Abyssin says that if he wins, then the lady will have to give away to him hidden artifact. Giselle, he says that it's a deal, and understands that he doesn't have one meaning. Does she have it? Or not? The guy is, everything equals, will receive nothing. Lady says that if he wins, he will kneel down and apologize for all his mistakes. Antics. Home heroine begins use mana. After what's in the air appear water stripes. The young man is in shock, watches this and thinks, is it really possible that the water from the fountain is floating in the air? Giselle claims that that's it, real magic, that someone like him will never be able to repeat it. Mariposa in this time runs to his brother and asks if he's okay, is he? Because the guy came back after 5 long years. The man asks Mariposa, good whether she lived. Woman asks how she could live, it's good. When they lost all connection with him, and she was so scared at the thought that something had happened to him. The man says that it must have been hard for the lady to keep the house and the household on her shoulders, so he thanks her for everything. Woman in this time notices a watch in his pocket, the late count. Her companion wonders where Giselle and Abyssin are. After all, to him, I wonder how are getting along these two. Mariposa claims that Abasan, rather just walking in the garden, and Giselle should be in your own room. After all, she is withdrawn, and finds it difficult to be around others. When a man starts talking about a lady, a woman takes his hand and offers his brother a better one, say that this is the artifact he has in his pocket. Because he looks it's interesting. Therefore woman asks, won't show whether he is her. There Abasan, in the last time so hard studies magic, that she too became interested. But the man turns to his interlocutor and asks whether he should explain anything to her. Woman claims that she was just joking and wondering why he was like that, serious. But in thoughts adds that he is like that wicked only because of the fact that this memory of a friend, and if he is going to continue to behave like this, then it is better would never came back at all. But at that very moment, the man notices something. When Mariposa also, he looks in this direction, is surprised and says, how beautiful this is. After all, there is a rainbow without rain. Woman claims that this impressive, the rainbow created from clean mana. On this one, the mage's mana level should be crystal clear, without the slightest impurities. The man understands that before this I saw it years ago, so a beautiful rainbow. And he has a spirit captivates as much as it did then. The woman in this time asks, really this did her precious son. But in the last time he worked so hard, was engaged in magic. The man claims that this means it is the result of long training. His interlocutor says that Abasan is a real diamond of the family floret, and since passed so many time, then why would he couldn't talk to the guy about magic because he was, I would be delighted. But when they are suitable closer, they see how home heroine stands over the young man. The woman was immediately shocked, addresses his to my son. The guy in this time looks at the main one heroine, and she says that how is that possible? She accidentally created a rainbow with the help of magic. She also asks Abyssina, is it true? This, and now he must do what promised. Home heroine asks what he is waiting for. After what offers the guy to kneel and asks if he is doing it again, is going to roll up hysteria, proving that there were involved artifacts. The woman is in shock, asks, really? This Giselle controls magic. The young man in this time claims that, despite all her antics and deception, she has all more, you have the nerve to say that. But the main thing heroine claims that maybe he is not capable on one's own. Get down on your knees, and in such case, let him allow her to help. The girl immediately puts him on his knees with the help of magic, and the guy screams, because hit knees. Mariposa immediately runs to her son and screams, turning to Giselle, asking what she creates. Home heroine asks Madame Mariposa how she ended up there. Woman in this time turns to his brother and asks if he saw as he that gets up to something Giselle. But after all she said that young woman mean and cruel, but how she can behave so shamelessly, and this after all that they are for her did. Woman suggests his brother not to stand there like a pillar and say something. The man claims that, let's talk about it later, and asks Giselle, Really? This she created a rainbow. To which young woman answers that yes. Mariposa in this time turns to his brother and asks if it is possible. Now it's only this interested. Giselle hurt his nephew, so he should her reprimand. The man claims that such level magic not accessible to everyone, and even with an average level magic needed purest mana, so that creates such beautiful light. Abison screams that it's a scam, and she's not ashamed at all, so it's not surprising that she the groom ran away. Man in this time asks what another groom, and really the woman wanted to give away Giselle Mary without his consent. Home heroine, wiping tears, claims that, that's right, Madame Mariposa told her to go out marry a man who is 30 years older than her. Woman screams that he is a good person, and age is just a number, and the girl after all, she said that he liked her too. I like it. But the main one, heroine asks when she will. She said such things. The Count claims that they will discuss this later, and says to Mariposa, more never dared get up to something similar. Woman says she's sorry, but because of everyone terrible rumors that they're talking about Giselle, she wanted it as soon as possible issue her get married. By more marriage proposals are coming. The man says that even so final solution remains his, after what he addresses to Giselle, and claims that the girl has grown so much, and become even more like her own parents. Memories again washed over him, and he remembered the moment before this fool got married. Lady is interested, says does he know about her? Father, what for? That answers that, yes, and once they were with Sahara to smithereens, they smashed all the artifacts that came into their hands in the magical tower. But he misses it so much idiot. Home heroine understands that Count Fleuret has truly gone crazy. In the original history, said that they were the best friends in their youth, and in time studies in Magic Tower, if something didn't suit them, then they were destroying everything around. What did I expect? Father and Count Fleuret were clearly far from normal people. But perhaps this is only to her advantage. And the girl maybe continue pretend real, so that survive. Then stronger she will, the more you try. The bigger the graph will be see her as an old friend. And when, she to him, if she likes it, then she will an ally will appear. A man in this time reaches into his pocket and claims that now everything fell into places. He stretches out Giselle watches and claims that now she legal owner this artifact, which once belonged her father. Home heroine understands that luck is on her side now side. And the man claims that the weather is fine and is interested. He doesn't want to whether young woman take a walk with him. Mariposa, watching this, understands that this girl's so pathetic that no family would want even look at her, and when will she was able to obtain such power? The young man in this time addresses his mother and asks, really, she will continue to just stand and watch. But the woman tells him to be quiet, because if by some chance she get closer to my uncle, then they good will take care of this idiot. Before then hers they will have a chance take revenge. By home heroine walking together with the Count. That one asks how she lived. Girl wonders if the Count is really her, is interested. But in the original stories earlier, nothing like this ever happened. Lady replies that it's fine, except that her tried issue get married. The man asks how the dirty old man dared at all look at her. After what claims that he himself knows about it, will take care. But the main thing heroine she understands that he trusts her so much. That's why she can't wait. Snitch on everyone. But it's still early, because now most of the people in the estate are on the side Mariposa. Man in this time says to Lady kept this artifact is safe and sound, because with its help she maybe change your appearance, and this very useful thing, after all, similar in the Empire, can't be found anymore. Moreover, Sahara always hid additional ones in his artifact's functions, so it's worth it better study. Home heroine, he wonders if he can do it more, something besides camouflage, and this very interesting. But the problem is that she felt this. As soon as I took it in my hands, this artifact absorbs huge quantity mana. This a rare artifact, but she can't use it often therefore hopes that at least someday he will help her. The man claims that there is no need to rush, because judging by the fact that he is now sees, even if she's low on mana now, so training Lady fast will raise her level. Fine, I would like to study with a teacher at the academy, but still, it's better if she already has one. Useful artifact, Giselle. She thinks, who doesn't know this? But she has no idea money, no connections. The man claims that he is speaking. This means that maybe it's worth it. Find a magic mentor. Home, the heroine is in shock. He wonders if he really did it for no reason this topic. A good mentor in magic costs no less billion gold, and it turns out that the Count is her benefactor. If she will be able to show his potential, then it necessarily will notice. At that very moment, the girl screams that she agree. And I'm ready to meet him right now. A little time later, young woman asks, what lady who I didn't even study at the academy at all may know about magic? Home heroine claims that that's exactly what he's thinking about. Magic mentor is in shock thinks. Really she understood that's how he put it faces. And the main one heroine says that, if he thinks so, then maybe he can just check. Her companion agrees and offers start with mana. After all, those who never haven't used mana before, or has anyone used it? Not at all, they won't be able to pass the test. Home heroine uses his power after what asks. I'm convinced whether he is. Her, the interlocutor, is in shock thinks. Really she capable perfect fulfill equipment breathing, but even Abbasan were required years to her execute. Well then, Hassan understands that need to calm down. After all, rather, in short, she was just lucky. After what is he saying that okay, and now they will try create a mana circle. Quantity mana, which, maybe to collect the magician, is what given at birth, but that doesn't mean that workout are useless. After all, how more mana circulates around their heart's mana, especially powerful magic they can to own. Of course, if it's a lady big heart mana, then it's easier form. Home heroine is interested, comes out Lee, that for a magician there is nothing more important, size heart's mana. Her companion replies that he won't deny, and after she will form a mana circle, they will be able to check size hearts. How it turned out that there is an artifact needed for such purposes, and if she like this, he will grab it with his hand. Then he can see light. The brighter it is, the stronger her heart. The man claims he doesn't expect much from the lady, because he is something I heard from the lady Mariposa. So she is not worried and will put it down, put your hand there. The man thinks it is obvious that the girl will not achieve even one lap, and after he will tell the count that she has no talent, and that's it, they will finish. But at that very moment, he notices a bright light, and thinks what it is such. After all, Lady Mariposa said that Giselle has no power. Her congenital heart mana doesn't just match level 5 circles, it's so great that allows achieve even 10. A little time later, the man bursts into the count's room and screams that, "This impossible!" He claims to be a lady. Giselle deceives him. The man asks what the mentor's talking about, and he claims that her heart mana too big, and she has great mana control. The man recalls how the lady said that she's ready to show to all that, now she other. And he thinks, then whether her the concept of other, is that she was able to awaken her power. The count asks if this not good, and his interlocutor, he replies that no, because a lady can't be so huge forces. Fleurette wonders what he wants this say, and his interlocutor shouts that in the highest society everyone has known for a long time. What's the ladies? There is no Giselle talent for magic, and now suddenly, it turns out that she has potential of a great magician. Yes, with her talent, it is to him follows take from her lessons, not the other way around. So there is definitely something involved there, prohibited magic, or a common deception. The count says whether he is about the forbidden magic. And he claims that when a mentor attributes his student's talent to something forbidden magic, sounds how insult to Fleurette's house. He can't keep such a person in his house, so he is fired and must leave the estate immediately. A true mentor must make every effort when sees talent in the student, but he clearly has problems with the basics of teaching. Therefore, let the guy leave, and don't expect that he will be seen again, someone will hire. But the guy cries out to the count, how can he fire him because of this? The man asks what he means, and he asks if the guy still hasn't understood anything. At the end ends Hassan was fired, and they say he crawled out from the count's office on all fours. The count immediately called Giselle came to her, and apologized that recommended a person like Hassan. Lady until I met the new magic tutor he hired, but at least unlike the original one plot, everything started to improve. A little time later in the newspaper, young woman sees that her accused of kidnapping family values. It also says that around powerful artifact that fell into incompetent hands, erupted a huge scandal, and they conducted an interview with the disgraced magic mentor Hassan. Young woman understands that the guy is putting on airs in the interview, guilty her. It doesn't matter how much she is trying to get away from the original stories, but the law of failures continues work. Even once after total by her done, they move according to the laws of the genre, which means she still looms bad ending. But maybe there is something capable fully change the plot. Then home heroine remembers Ring, and understands that now she's for real, will change move narratives. A little time later, the Duke is already meeting with the main heroine. Young woman claims that she came to accept his proposal of marriage. The man thanks lady, and is interested in what she has it in her hand. Home heroine answers that she prepared your own dossier, so that he would trust her, and with confidence to entrust work. She thought that information about it will help to him more effectively plan future. When the guy opens the report, he sees that everything is written out point by point, and in it, honest self-presentation, without embellishment, as well as cuttings from the newspapers, very fine, match to explanations. Dossier, as if would wrote real professional, who spent years to compile official reports. Young woman thanks him for the flattering review. Lady understands that in reality, in this case, you need to pay for this document, thank not only her skills, but also hidden skill artifact her father is magical spell for correction and decoration text. This skill she discovered during experiments, which got busy after words of Count Fleurette. Fortunately, this function consumes not that much huge quantity mana. How change appearance. The man claims that I've never seen such a flawless one before official document, and really she once occupied secretary position. Girl. She replies that no, because she didn't have a mentor. Her, the interlocutor with shaking hands, says that not having a teacher is already experienced makeup. The documents are simply amazing. And that means Giselle is goddess language. The Duke wonders what's wrong with him. After all, the guy suddenly tensed up and became so inspired, as if professor who tried kidnap a student and lock him in his laboratories. Lady says that since went such a topic, then it will frankly, and asks his lordship, maybe whether she added 2 more conditions to the contract. The first is a request that he use your authority. And he closed the newspaper, under titled Gossip Girl, Daisy. Home heroine thinks how these little people dared to insult her. She get rid of them in a moment, if her will support such important human. Home heroine says that if she will surrounded superfluous attention because of the lies gossip, then this definitely will affect them plans for the future. Her companion claims that the lady is right. After all, better eliminate all sorts obstacles. How can quicker? When he asks about the second provided, then the girl answers that she wants an advance. And he wonders, maybe whether to receive it. Giselle understands that even for a human from families, Kalinos her request may show up too much. But if part-time job her, if there's one thing I taught you, it's not to trust people. The man replies that no problem, and he will pay the full amount. Giselle immediately thanks him and asks if they can whether they then discuss the rest conditions contract. Young woman asks what term their contract for what her companion answers that 1 year. When she asks about the conditions, then the guy says that he wants his family was so full this marriage that fully refused this ideas. Home heroine says that, as he could already understand, creating problems is her specialty, so let him not worry, although now that he mentioned it, I would like to add more something. He needs to include conditions that guarantee safety her life. At the end, after all, if she will behave so defiantly, then maybe be subjected to attack, or even worse. Kalinos says that now to him, it's curious that exactly she is going to do, after which he agrees to and claims that will add this condition in the contract. Lady thanks client and says that he can be, I'm sure he and his family will drown in scandals. The Duke says that, to her information when Lady will become Duchess, then she doesn't will fulfill any duties associated with the title. Management system has already been implemented in his estate, and the heir chosen his late brother's child. Home heroine says that, this such relief, but wonders if maybe whether she more asks something, after all, this a little private question. The man hands her the document and replies that yes. And the girl interested, is there a reason why he hates it so much idea marriage? After all, even on paper the marriage with her still remains a marriage. The man replies that they are a fictitious couple, so it doesn't matter values. Real marriage is it is ineffective, and it takes away time for daily obligations, obliges sleeping with someone you don't want to, forces you to have an heir, as if he were a tribal horse. And besides, marriage without love violates ethical norms research. Home heroine understands that she, as if it were scientific, I got to the lecture. But her companion says that there is more something that maybe interfere this marriage. In order for the wedding to take place, they must obtain approval from these 5 people, specified in the contract. Home heroine asks what kind of people these are, and the man only gives her a page with a list these people. In the council consist the most respected members of the duchy, from direct and secondary families, those who achieved highest results in scientific research institute potions. This group of 10 people united into the council elders. As a rule, large and minor, the affairs of the duchy require approval from the council elders' family, blood relatives, and the emperor. But in the duchy Kalinos, where battles with demons take place on a constant basis, enough consent between the duke and the council. Thus, all agendas for meetings require approval, minimum half members' advice. A little time after one of members' advice claims that home agenda that they today should discuss. This, the marriage of His Grace, the Duke of Kalinos. Another participant advice says that the person on whom his lordship wants to get married. This is Giselle Fleuret, from the house of Count Fleuret. After what is he asking? Is he right? His interlocutor replies that everything is correct, because at the moment the marriage has been approved by 5 members of the council. For the final verdict need to another decision, but at the same moment the man claims that he is against it, and yet some human same claim that they perform against this marriage. Their companion says that this way or that otherwise, instead of accept similar solutions, are no better, whether would meet her. But the chairman advice asks if there is whether at all the need for this meeting. After all, given the report has already shown them enough information. She is scandalous person and always is located in the center of everything incidents. Therefore, how so good for nothing lady may become a duchess. But someone else says that since the duke has chosen her, then she may turn out to be a good person, and they follows, reconsider your own solution. Elder only speaks them stop. The man understands that they're trying conquer the duke's location, and if they won't get it one more vote, then the marriage will not take place. But at that very moment, the man notices a bird in the window and thinks, could it really be? This is what he thinks about. After which, he immediately gets up and offers finish meeting. His interlocutor says that, after all, not everything was decided. But the elder claims that they will be postponed decision until next times. After all, they're still in no hurry. But one of members' advice asks what now? Maybe be more important the duke's marriage. After the man approaches this to the bird, he receives a letter. It says there that it is addressed to him. As well, what was one copy of his book was sold under titled Noble and Protestant Ethics, and the fee is equal 1 silver coin. That's why let him visit bookstore at the first opportunity. The man is happy understands that, finally, someone bought his book. A little time later, he runs into the store and screams that he heard they have a book about noble ethics. But at the same moment, he sees how salesman packs a handful of books. Chairman asks why these books are still not sorted. But his interlocutor claims that they are gathering, get rid of them. After all, they are not for sale. If a man is looking for any book, then let he'll ask there, because he's here now busy. After what is he interested in anyway, who only wrote such a pathetic book that was sold in only 1 copy? The chairman immediately becomes depressed and asks if his book is really pathetic. If he would have published this book on behalf of chairman advice, elders Kalinos, then she would had big popularity, but still his pride will not allow this. But at that very moment, someone else comes into the shop and claims that this book is quite interesting, And this guy just doesn't understand anything. Chairman Advice is surprised, and he thinks, really? This, the lady said his book was interesting. And really? This she bought that one the only one instance. A little time back home, the heroine said that, if you need to convince someone, it's better take aim straight to the main thing person on the council, that is, Chairman Elders. Young woman recalls that in the original, in his stories, he hides his identity and dreams of becoming a best-selling author of self-development books. Maybe arise the question is, why is he doing it this secretly? After what she understands that it's cool after all, but due to constant criticism and zero sales, his self-esteem was undermined and mental state shook. At the end, eventually, he reveals his identity, and thanks to his fame, the book becomes bestseller. But his happiness lasted not for long, because people said that this book is very boring, and how Sir Hennessy could write such a book. Hennessy took place chapters elders because of his talent. He selects people based on their merits. He is fair and competent man. And since need to convince another council member, then he is the best candidate. If you win him over, he will become excellent support even after weddings. The man is shocked, asks, really? The lady read the entire book. Home heroine answers yes. And when the one who below they find themselves in a difficult situation position, to him need to lend a helping hand, that's what it is noble duty of the nobility. The man understands that she read his work carefully and wondered if she really liked it, content. But then he realizes that now leads myself very rude, and wonders if maybe will he find out. Name lady. If she doesn't mind, then they could have a cup tea somewhere in a coffee shop. Home heroine after this raises his hat and asserts that she is Giselle Fleuret, and perhaps he had already heard of her. The man is in shock, asks, really, this the Duke's bride? And then, it turns out she is trying win his favor to get his approval for your marriage. Young woman answers that nothing like that, and she just found his book very exclusive. The man asks if he should, is he into this? Believe in what lady answers that I didn't ask him to believe though. This is true. She had already read the book that Sir Hennessy published under your own this name, and found many similarities between them. There is something similar logic and writing style that rarely are found in self-development books. That's why she assumed that Sir Hennessy maybe be the real author, and when I heard that Sir invested funds in this bookstore, then she wanted to check. And there he appeared, and confessed that is the author of this book. The man thinks that it's surprising because he was fooled so easily. He was told that lady enough timid. However, this not at all. The man says he understands, but he thinks that them more nothing discuss, so perhaps it's time for him to. But the girl says he will regret it if we'll leave. She claims that the book of the gentleman excellent, but in reality, business. How the reader, she was missing some moments. Hennessy asks if it is so. This is a girl answers that yes, but she knows how this to correct, and make it so that about the book found out every citizen empires. Lady interested, maybe whether she helped to the master sell his work, and asks, wants is he still there? Leave. The man wonders why she spoke about it, and the lady claims that in return, if they succeed, then she will ask him, okay their marriage with the Duke. And 10% of the total proceeds from book sales. Her companion wondering if it really is, she thinks he will agree to this. But lady says that to him there's nothing to do anyway lose. After what wonders what he decided. The man wonders where she got it from, so many confidence, and he has such feeling that she trying to drag him into something. His book doesn't need and no one's help, but what if the book really is, will find to be sold. After what Chairman Advice agrees and states that he will meet her halfway, just this time. Home heroine thanks him, and claims that he definitely won't regret it decision. A little time later, the lady's uncle claims that in the last time Giselle is very busy, and it looks very tired. Lady claims that it just fell on her many affairs. I was helping an author. I'd recently met with the design and editing of a self-development book. The man asked if it was true. This. For what? Lady. He replies that yes, but it is difficult to combine without a maid. Ordinary troubles and help. Uncle is in shock, asks if Giselle doesn't have her own maid. He turns to Mariposa, and claims that he is I'm sure that took care of this before his departure. And the woman says that it seems to have happened misunderstanding, and asks girl, really, she didn't say that she didn't need a maid because she was inconvenient. Home heroine wonders when she talked about this, and her mother says that she probably misunderstood, and it seemed that she is satisfied with everything. Giselle, looking at her stepmother, thinks how shameless she is, because she made the entire staff her own henchmen. After what lady thinks maybe it's worth it, pour some more a little fuel for the fire. After all, even Count Fleuret, who was too much busy to devote attention to domestic affairs, will feel that something is wrong there. But still, a lady understands that by what won't happen, hurry, because all the atrocities these people themselves will come to light. Lady rises from the table, thanks for the food, and asks if whether she leave. Her uncle asks if it is true the lady is already leaving. Girl answers that yes, and today, it's the third day since the book appeared on the shelves of bookstores, so she wants to do it herself, look, and she also needs time to meet one person, to which she promised to devote time. In the end, this self-development book became a bestseller in a very short time. She called excitement, how among both commoners and nobility, more than 100,000 copies were sold in just 3 days. The chairman, watching this through the window, says in a shaking voice that this can't happen Before this book nobody was interested, but then everything changed, so quickly. Sold out just a book written emperor, but the circulation there was half as much as his, so he is interested in how lady this did. Home heroine replies that everything is simple, because at first need to attract people's attention, and for this necessary good cover and clear name. The previous book had too much long the name that it didn't stand out in any way. In our days, when everywhere many literature on self-development survive only those books that I missed, it is impossible to pass without turning attention. And the main thing is this content. First need to break too much long offers for more short, preserving main. The point is to make the text easier was read. And then need to connect everything together with hidden skill artifact. People reading the content of the book, they cried out, how can one become a billionaire by spending just 1 minute a day? And they very want this find out. So they immediately scrolled to the next one page. This is how the self-development book came about, which you can't help but read it from beginning to end. Elder after this said that understandable. And then he will pay her a fee in accordance with their contract. He also wondering how young woman wants to get money. Home heroine understands that she has. There is magical account, which she received from Duke Kalinos. But this, after all, it's 500 million. That's why young woman thinks she should whether she prepare a larger safe. Giselle claims that she will give to him answer later. But for now, what can he do? Prepare accounting sales report. Her companion agrees, and thanks lady for that she helped sell books for him. Giselle says that this nonsense, because it's all thanks to his talent, because the book was originally excellent, and she simply systematized her to readers. It was easier to read. But nothing would not have happened if would the gentleman didn't believe her. So she thanks him. Man in this time smiles and thinks how stupid it was of him to judge someone, leaning only for public opinion. After what he claims that, as he promised, he will give her his consent to marry the Duke. Besides marriages to him would, also I wanted to, a little watch her. Home heroine thanks him, and claims that, then she is looking forward to it, waiting possibilities work with him. A little time later, assistant addresses his lordship, and asserts that, today they received a response from the meeting advice elders, about his marriage to the lady Giselle Fleuret. The Duke asks if this is so, and is interested in what was answer. His assistant claims that this time, Mr. Hennessy, who was last time against this marriage, gave your own agreement, thanks to this more half-members' advice voted for, so now there is official permission. The Duke says that so they can get married right now. He also recalls how the lady was talking about the chairman advice, and understands that the girl is simply amazing. The Duke claims he can't believe that she really is this did. He turns to a subordinate, a little mangling his name. And when that corrects him, then the man ignores it, just stretches a letter to him, offering send it to your grandfather, and tomorrow let organize his family dinner. It's time to announce his marriage. A little time later, home heroine hands his book to his uncle. Young woman claims that, this is the book I'm talking about. She mentioned it at breakfast, and she helped to its author with editing. The man says that understandable, and reads name, after what claims that it not bad. Giselle answers that of course, and in the end ends first impression very important. In this, at that time, the servant informs the count that it's time for him to go into management meeting. Home heroine thinks how fast flies time, and she looked in to give the book back, but now she too need to go. Young woman asks his uncle to read him a book when he will appear time, and understands that, if only he would in passing mentioned her name at the meeting, then to him there was no price. A little time later, the man sits with this book, and thinks that means Giselle contributed to the creation this book. When he continues read, then understands that this is really amazing. Perhaps it is because of the fact that she, daughter Sahari, the handwriting is so similar, but this one, the fresh and original style of storytelling, is not suitable for nothing other. He assumed that this an ordinary book with a quirky twist name, but what is it? Such. After all, young woman, even I never studied at the academy. A little bit. Time later, the servant brings schedule for today. But when he sees the book in the count's hands, he asks if he has also bought it. Mr. wonders if he does too knows about her, to which the guy replies, of course. She's so popular that people line up at the bookstore just to would her acquire. The count says that I see, after what thinks that here, his old friend would too could her read. Servant in this time asks who she is Giselle, who was mentioned in the author's acknowledgments. After all, their young lady, the name is the same. The man claims that that's it, they're Giselle, but the servant immediately smiles and says, okay, after all, why would a popular author mention Lady Giselle in her book? Because of the rumors circulating about the young lady, he might get a lot of criticism, and what an idiot he is, dare enter her name. But at the same moment, the count coldly asks if the servant has really forgotten whose daughter is Giselle. Assistant immediately understands that he is only what said, and asks him to forgive him, because to him it's a pity. Fleuret claims that he does not want to see him, therefore let the guy get out. The man understands that something is wrong, and perhaps because of his long, he could travel to miss something. But he can't get rid of the thought that Giselle are treated with extreme strange neglect. And really, this only his imagination. But the man thinks that he should do it himself, to everyone figure out. A little time later, the Duke is already dining with someone. A guy with light hair is Vientiane's younger brother, Tiren Kalinos. Young man turns to his brother and says that he wanted him today, see, after wondering what case. Vientiane says that he has a fiancée, and he is going to marry her in the near future time. Blonde from this, he is shocked and asks if his brother is really getting married, and if so, who exactly? He also asks if he'll get married whether he is on a lady, and let the brother just not say that that man is a researcher. Vientiane answers that this lady, Giselle Fleuret. Terrain asks if it is so, and understands that this is the one Giselle, whom he succeeded once see at the banquet. The man also thinks, really this is the timid one girl, but at the Lady Giselle is not the best reputation. After what is he interested in? How this happened? His interlocutor claims that I met her at a banquet, and fell in love at first sight. Look, his brother understands that if Think, then Vientine, who always chose costumes only dark tones, suddenly switched to light ones. And materials research, without which he could not live a minute get by, today he didn't bring them. This happened for the first time since he learned to walk. He knows he has no right to think that way, but what if his crazy brother is due to pressure families, is going to kidnap Lady Giselle, and forcefully marry him? The blonde tells his brother that maybe he is better, will reconsider your own solution. And even more so, he still must receive approval, grandfathers and mothers. The Duke claims that he has already sent a letter to his grandfather. But his interlocutor understands that he is now travels, and it may take a month before the letter reaches him. The Duke is in this time, asks Count Taran, could not he would report mother about her daughter-in-law? His interlocutor thinks that in no way in this case, after all is his brother serious, intends to introduce his chosen one mothers, which is the most decisive and uncompromising in matters etiquette and discipline, a woman who most strictly watches over traditions and holds all the highest in his fist society. The guy also asks his brother that about consent advice elders, and that one claims that it is not worth talking about worry because they have already given it. The lady herself went to the council and settled everything. The blonde thinks that his brother it's not serious now, after all. How this timid, the lady herself could have discussed their marriage with the council, but it's clear to anyone that this is a forced marriage. The Duke claims that the lady will soon arrive at the estate, therefore let him not forget adjust your own schedule. Vientiane claims that now he will go because he has accumulated a lot research on troll slime. Taran thinks that it doesn't matter what his brother says, because this marriage is one big mess danger. So he must report to mom before my brother caused a disaster. One of the lady in the garden claims that their Cordelia suffered while trying to tame the ghost beast in the academy, and the whole house plunged into chaos. Other lady wonders if everything is okay with her. Her interlocutor claims that, fortunately, she just fainted, but she worries that can spread false rumors, and this will negatively affect her future marriage. In this time, lady with black hair hits Mug, and claims that perhaps will sound, it's strange. However, if someone is focusing on the matter at hand, loves, there is nothing wrong with getting a minor injury or faint. This woman is Juliana Kalinos. Her interlocutor claims that if it is known that Cordelia behaved inappropriately in her age, then this maybe badly affect the marriage perspective. Woman wonders why this should her worry, because what's important is that she awakened her skills. Other people say that exactly, and the time when modesty was considered dignity, long ago passed. After what they offer on this finish, and the woman says that she agree. Juliana understands that the son still hasn't found a partner, and she needs how can marry him off quickly. But these ladies are all like that weak. At the same moment, someone else bursts into the closed garden and screams to his mother. It turns out to be Count Taran. The guy turns to his mother and says that here she where. Woman speaks to his own son. What gentlemen don't behave like that? But the guy immediately asks his mother, did you hear? What advice elders approved of his brother's marriage? The woman was shocked, asks if it is Duke Kalinos gets married. Young man answers that yes, and he said that his bride will soon be there. Juliana is interested, knows does he have a name? This lady, to which the guy replies that yes, and that Giselle Florette. His interlocutor after this believes that she needs how can quicker prepare to meet her. At that time, like in an estate, Kalinos there was a commotion over the potential bride's Vientiane. In the house of Count Florette, one of maids says, how is it? It's annoying after all. Why she should to serve someone like Lady Giselle. Other claims that they have no choice, since Count Florette ordered it that way. And yet one of maids says that maybe the family went bankrupt, but still earlier she was noblewoman. Therefore really, she should politely talk to this a girl with such shameless reputation. But after all, call her young lady too much generously. But at that very moment, someone else turns out behind this girls and asks, really, they her are discussing. The maid immediately jumps up and screams that lady, her scared you, so why sneak up so quietly? Giselle wonders if she really needs it louder, go out from his own rooms. Her interlocutor answers that yes, that's why asks stay at home, and if she will, fine behave, then she will think about it, treat her like a young girl lady. Home heroine says that she, maybe treat her as she pleases, after all today there is more things to do, therefore she leaves. The maid is in shock, asks where she is going, got ready and thought, could it really be lady I ate something wrong? After all, usually, she said something like, sorry. And now the girl just brushes her off, so how can this brat dared? A little time later, home heroine heading towards the cellar under Count Florette's mansion. Housemaid understands that in the end I followed the lady. Well, what did she need in the wine cellar? She also looks around and thinks where the caretaker disappeared. Home the heroine, turning to the maid, understands that I immediately fell for her provocation. That's why it came time arrange planned performance. Girl pours wine into a glass, and her interlocutor says to lady I waited. After all, what is she does? After all, this Madame Mariposa's expensive wine. But the main thing the heroine at the same moment claims that she loves wine. Housemaid screams like, maybe young lady get drunk middle white day? And how can it be so shameless? Behave. Giselle claims that wine can be drunk during the day, too great. After what is interested, wants, whether MAID too, she poured her some too. But her interlocutor offers Madame, come to your senses, after all. If Count Florette finds out what she's doing something there, it's stern will punish her. Home heroine, wondering if it really is young woman, is afraid that she can arise troubles, but she really is such a bore. After what home heroine offers, think about it later, and kicks one of barrels. After what they begin roll, and the main one heroine offers. Now just enjoy the moment. Housemaid screams that, this after all expensive aged wine, and offers lady stop right now. Giselle wonders what difference it makes if the wine is expensive. And her interlocutor thinks, really young woman at all, I'm crazy, and if she continues, she will definitely be scolded for the fact that she didn't stop, and although the lady asked her temporarily, lie low. But she can't just stand by and watch this madness. It is necessary only a little intimidate this one brat, so she calmed down. After what housemaid screams to Giselle, and says that, if she won't stop, then she will be, because of her problems with the graph. But at the same time, the main thing heroine hits girl in the face. She asks who housemaid myself she imagined it, since she calls noble lady named. The maid screams that, lady seriously I'm crazy. And the main one heroine replies that she doesn't care, because she will continue to drink and enjoy wine, so let young woman gets rid of her eye. Housemaid understands that lady finally went crazy, and she should report this immediately to Madame Mariposa, and then lock up her or something in this kind. At the same moment, the maid says to the girl, didn't dare to leave there, because she more will see how she will behave in front of Madame Mariposa. Home heroine says that of course, and the girl, maybe go, and also let she will good girl and complain to Madame. When if it leaves, then it's the main one heroine understands that, now one problem less. In the original stories, was a man who often lazed around and secretly drank wine, so she needed finish work before this human will return. After all, she didn't just pour alcohol all over it for no reason. According to original stories, there are on the floor place that sags. If you put pressure on it, wine gets in. It protected magic that protects what is hidden there from liquid and dirt. But after all, this hidden ledger family's Florette. At that moment, someone runs into the basement and screams, why is the door open? As well as wondering who young woman such, and tells her to quickly return what she took it. But at that very moment, the man notices that this lady Giselle, and the main one heroine says that they finally met. Young woman extends her hand, and says that she is pleased to get acquainted, as well as understands that this former, the chief accountant of the estate, he was demoted to the position of caretaker of the main wine cellar because of the protege she brought to the estate Mariposa. Home heroine addresses the gentleman Kim, who is genius accounting and inventor double accounting. She asks if he is. He hid the registration book there, and the man screamed, how did she find out? Lady says so that he doesn't understand it's wrong. After all, she will keep it a secret that he is her stole it, but she has it. There are two conditions. The first is that he will give her an artifact for storing gold. After all, I heard that it fits in one hand. It is enchanted, so that you can easily put 100 billion in it gold. The guy is shocked, thinks how she found out about it, because he bought it with the thought that will them use when will return to his former work. Lady also says that when will he return to office chief accountant, then she will need his advice on management finances. She talks about double accounting, and the girl I made it in time, quickly look through everything, and it looks like this significantly simplifies control finances. She thinks that if he can trust someone their money, then only to a genius like him. The man is in shock, thinks, really? The lady recognized his skills as an accountant, and yet, considering that until now everyone had treated him only with contempt, now he is so touched that he can't contain tears. Home heroine in this time stretches out. He gives him a contract and asks if he wants it, whether he would conclude it with her. It describes what Party B is obligated to do, manage the assets of Party A free of charge. Party A undertakes make every effort to restore powers side B. The man says he agrees, but is curious as to how the lady found out that he was there. But at the same moment, into the room, bursts in, Mariposa asks Giselle how she dared arrange such a commotion in their estate. Home heroine addresses the lady Mariposa, and claims that she, just in time, after all I found something interesting there, and I'm wondering if I could woman step away with her for a minute. A little time later, someone else opens this book, is what he offers Mariposa answer to him. After all, according to information from this accounting book, someone, apparently, was committing theft during the last 5 years. Therefore, the Count is interested in what this all means a little. Some time ago, someone told the Count that he had completed investigation about the lady Giselle, and Goth provide to him report. Before that's all he wants, note that attitude. The inhabitants of the mansion to the lady Giselle, noticeably hostile. Madame Mariposa always showed concern for the young lady, but rumor has it she rejected her attention and spent all her time within the walls of her rooms. They say that I once scolded Madame Mariposa and disobeyed her. However, big part evidence comes from rumors, and many the facts are not quite match as if are fabricated. Besides, this estate accountant provided them the accounting books of Madame Mariposa's business, which she has been running the business for the last 5 years under a false name. The Count says there are no expense records. His interlocutor answers that, that's right, because it's indicated their only income. The man understands that the reporting form normal, but the purpose of the expenses is unclear, and it is difficult to track movement funds practically. It's impossible, as if it was made up like that on purpose. There are also too many suspicious moments, indicating that Giselle's characterization may be false, and more oddities it turns out. Now the man says that there is a whole list of bringing Legion useless businesses, and really, she didn't know about them. But in any case, he didn't care. She knew about it or not. He is very disappointed in my sister. The man also turns to one of the servants and asks if is he the Master Kima, and he was their accountant 5 years ago, to which the man replies that everything is correct. The count says he'll demote me. A person personally developed more an effective and transparent method of conducting accounting. It was stupid. The elders and even his sister are completely incompetent. After all, this accounting book is revolutionary thing, and how could such a person be demoted to the position of cellar keeper? When woman wants to say something, the count claims that it is not necessary explanations, and he temporarily removes Mariposa from the lead family affairs this estates. She is also prohibited visit public events. Any communication from now on should carried out through the head maid. Woman after this turns to his brother and asserts that it's so unfair because Giselle he's lying, and how can he even address like this with his own sister? The man says whether it's about lies, because he himself checked the entries in the book accounting, and really, she wants say that he is an idiot. Woman replies that, of course not, and her companion is interested in, really, she is trying blame for everything a child with whom I'll spend my whole life contacted, like with dirt. Mariposa clenches his fists and screams that it's absurd, and also asks his brother how he can to say such things. But the man suggests that she stop because he can't do it anymore. Listen, this whining! Home heroine understands that now that woman exposed, she won't be able to anymore act as freely as earlier. Count this time turns to Giselle and asks how she found this accounting book. Lady answers that I accidentally bumped into her when I went down for a drink. The man claims that, how if the lady says so, and he believes her? The accountant is shocked. He wonders if he will really believe her that easily. Home heroine in this time interested, maybe whether she then ask for a reward, and her companion answers that of course, after wondering what she wishes. Home heroine points to one of maids, and asks her punish. When they were in the wine cellar, then she called her by name without permission, and spoke rudely to her. The maid screams that lady after all, the first one slapped her. For what? Home heroine answers that she gave it and asked what happened. Really, she is to blame for the fact that punishes ill-mannered servants. The count says that if it's true, then he can't close eyes on this insubordination. And he thinks that dismissal will sufficient punishment for this maid. Home, the heroine immediately asks if it's true this. After what asks, don't give her a letter of recommendation, or leave yet allowance. The maid immediately screams, really? She will leave without recommendations, but this equivalent end her careers. How maid? Home heroine wondering what this has attitude towards them, and at the same moment, the maid turns to Madame and asks, take pity on her. And also say at least something. Mariposa in this time thinks what now it's happening, after all. Does the count really trust you that much, Giselle? But after all earlier, she was the most scary outcast estates, so why is everything so sudden, changed? A little time later, the Duke looks at the paper in his hands and asks, what is there anyway is happening? The newspaper says that the noble lady is located under domestic arrest, and the old feud between the lady and hostess seem to have reached their climax. The Duke claims he didn't expect that events from Florette's house can hit the headlines. It also says that they found information about the lady Giselle, who has suspect alcoholic addiction. Man in this time addresses the lady Giselle wonders if it really is. It's all done intentionally. Home heroine. He replies that it's simply more reliable this way. Shaky reputation in society, discord in the family. When lady about whom we're spreading gossip will become potential bride, then really her will approve the groom's family. Home heroine understands that in reality case, she began preparing the papers as soon as she received the invitation from the Duke, and she still wanted to hide the contract marriage from the family, Florette, therefore had to on the sly, the most study invitations and outings. If to Mariposa will get their information that she related to family Kalinos, then who knows that maybe happen? Girl thinks maybe whether can you even imagine what it's like, rage she will fall when the whole truth will emerge. The lady says that then everything falls into places, and is interested in, it is ahead, whether them today meeting with the Duke and Duchess. The guy replies that no, and today will only his younger brother and mother. Young woman wondering if it's true this, and understands that in the original stories, there was also nothing is said about the former Duke of Kalinos. Now home heroine says that okay, and then they can at first to greet his mother, and she wants to ask the Duke for a favor. Lady also claims that in front of his mother, they should pretend the most in love a couple. That is them need to will play to the crowd. The Duke is interested, is it necessary? Whether them will pretend in love, and claims that this sounds intriguing, therefore they can try. When the Duke enters the room, his brother immediately jumps up, with his own places and claims that his brother has returned. He also addresses the lady Giselle asks her to enter. Juliana speaks to his own, to my son sit down, but adds that he is late. Home heroine understands that this woman straightaway decided, pretend that it's not there, but it's not worth it, strengthen this hostility. The guy in this time speaks mother, what they haven't seen each other for a long time. After what introduces her to his future wife, Giselle Florette. Home the heroine immediately greets woman and calls your own name. After what Juliana thinks that now, they'll see how for a long time she will last. A little some time ago, a woman received information about a lady Giselle Fleuret. Juliana asked if it was true she accurate. What her companion answered that there is no doubt. There are rumors that Lady Giselle was close to Marquise Berthaud and Duke Le Chaniel. And even in my own family her they think a burden, as well as young woman cries almost every day. Woman says that lady worthless and weak, therefore the family doesn't need it such human. She also offered show their guest, what from myself represents family Kalinos. When young woman greeted Juliana, then only she turned to Taryn and claimed that she looks now on Lady Giselle. And suddenly I remembered how he greeted the guests, when to him was 7 years old. In those days, he often made fun of adults. And even in childhood was such a charmer. Home heroine understands that ruler higher society suddenly spoke in a manner secular lionesses. She tried prick her for that she, being an adult, deliberately builds from myself cutie than confuses surrounding. But the main thing heroine thinks, really, this costs attention, after who, with a smile on his face, claims that perhaps, this really was true, very cute. Giselle understands that compared to the glory that you can get it is not problem. The Duke is in this time, turns to the mother, and offers continue their conversation after they will sit down. A little time later, they are already serving at the table I'm going. Home heroine notices someone looking at him, women and thinks that she was from the very beginning configured hostile towards her. Not to mention the maid who accidentally she poured it on her, and the woman served her a portion food that is very different from the rest. Young woman understands that she didn't refuse water, and the food turned out to be quite good, edible. At first the Duke tried to intervene, but Juliana climbed in and didn't let him not a word to say. Now, near the main hand, heroines flies by dagger. After what does the maid ask for? Forgiveness, and claims that knife accidentally slipped out. Juliana says that their maid made a mistake, and it looks like dress Lady Giselle is torn, and if she needs to, this settle it, then she maybe go away. But in their family, they don't attach any special importance to this values. How Lady knows, family Kalinos, always defended Borders Empire. Therefore, unlike other families, even she, who is the mistress of the house, had to in the past time eat callous cookies in the military tent with my husband, or wear dirty clothes. And the lady made an impression on her impression, fragile girls who are incapable take out such. After what woman turns to the maid and offers help, Lady Giselle get up, because it looks like she doesn't belong at this table. The Duke immediately says his own mother's that this is too much. After all today, his fiancée came to them, and she behaved so leads. Woman claims that this is for the good of Kalinos. Vientine says that such the behavior is inappropriate family Kalinos. But the main thing the heroine immediately tells her beloved, that everything is fine. And since she wants to be next Duchess, family's Kalinos, according to mother, she should know what it's like this is to transfer war side by side with her husband. And then which there is a difference between hers, separate chair, or not. After all, she is ready to demonstrate, give them your determination, be with your husband everywhere, not just on the battlefield. Lady also turns to the dear one, and asks what he thinks, and it doesn't seem whether him that they became even more close. Her, the interlocutor, immediately answers that yes, and calls her expensive. Woman in this time asks if they received it. They marriage license, for what home heroine answers that yes. Woman also claims that lady after all knows that even being a duchess, she won't be able to study internal affairs family, and she will be it's more difficult. After all, she led a life far from secular society life. Home heroine thinks, really she named her, now social outcast, after what claims that the lady is right. After all, she more prefers loneliness than communication. She also turns to mom and asks if maybe whether she, same recommend her something excellent, a place for privacy. Juliana claims that it is not necessary. Lady, maybe continue and try ISO with all my strength to the very weddings. Although she very doubts that her someone admits worthy lady. After what woman leaves, and the girl turns to the dear one and asks, did you hear? Whether he did. After all, his mother allowed it, they should get married. Home, the heroine immediately whispers that he should quickly played along with her, and the man claims that he is happy. Screams at that very moment, seriously lady? Really? She really wants go out and marry his brother? Girl replies that of course, and her companion asks why. Giselle claims that it's because the Duke is very her loves, and asks his own interlocutor, right whether this. The Duke replies that, of course. After why does he take the girl by the hand and lead her away, her to the door. He also turns to his brother and says that I went without him, because he would stay more a little with his own beloved. Taryn is in shock, watches this and thinks, what's going on there? It's happening after all, really they are actually dating. A little time later, home heroine goes out into the street and says that, finally, it's all over. She also asks the Duke how to him her presentation, and says that they were able to obtain a marriage license, so really this is not great. Her companion claims that lady was incredible, but he was what I would be grateful if would be in the future she refrained from unnecessary physical contacts. Giselle wonders if he's talking about how she sat on his lap, and was the Duke really unpleasant? For what? Her companion answers that after this made his heart start beating faster. Home heroine asks about what this is him, after what wonders what this is that means, because his words in this atmosphere seem strange. And really, the Duke? But at the same moment, the guy says that for sure, after physical contact with her, his heart became more frequent, almost 2 times compared to usual condition. Observed symptoms, unrest, such, how redness ears. He suspects that this happened due to emission norepinephrine. Home heroine says that it is clear, and understands that it was worth it already guess, because he just stumbled upon something interesting study. After what young woman believes that performance, it turned out great, and here he is talking about the heartbeat says something. Her companion claims that he would be happy to work with her next year, and the lady answers that this mutually. She also needed will she be do something before the wedding. Her companion replies that she will be assigned a mentor, who will keep an eye on her education in their family. Them will become Elder Agnes, who is closest his mother's assistant. Let the ladies will be careful, because he has bad character, and he can make her do something risky. Home heroine says that, so his name is Agnes, and he's wondering if he would sir tell her more about him. For the next morning, the girl is already heading through the Duke's mansion. Lady thinks that this great, indeed. She finished make a family chart, and collect necessary information. That's why remained the last step. When home heroine comes into the room with the teacher, he says that Lady Giselle was late, after what invites her to sit down, and the main one heroine understands that all she has to do is find the ingredients for that potion. When young woman sits down, her companion claims that I've heard about her self-confidence, and thought that lady although would a little knows about the family Kalinos. But it turns out there is absolutely no basic knowledge about the family in which she is going to log in. And even small children know that the foundation of the family Kalinos is production potions. Home heroine says that here as, and understands that she is all this knows, but under the conditions contract she should look at least a little disappointing. The man offers her to listen carefully, and claims that potion making is a field of study that manages advice elders. He personally accepts participation in work on Mucus Goblin. The teacher also understands that maybe now he is lagging behind little from the other elders, but he is confident that the goblin slime will soon produce a real sensation. However, home heroine says he encountered some difficulties in creating these potions, and wonders if she's right. The man is shocked, asks how she found out. Young woman replies that in the margins of the book, he brought there as notes, and really, the plant is not rarity. But after all, she talks about Halone's grass. Girl understands that this herb is considered extinct plant because it had not been found for 20 years. Man immediately takes the book from her and asks when lady at all I made it in time, this read. But in any case, only you can't get it from books, learn everything, because young woman by, what not properly acquainted with the house of Kalinos, she will allow he should hold it for her, a tour of their valuable research laboratories potions. He also claims that extracts from all sorts of monsters are guiding unprecedented horror. Most people run away in fear from one of them kind, but Lady Giselle's so smart that he would like introduce her and other elders. He assures her that he does not have any evil intentions for this account, and the main heroine says that that's great, and yet same I hoped get to know him as can rather. The teacher understands that on her, even sarcasm doesn't work. After what does the teacher claim that since lady there, then he would like to introduce her, and it seems like it just came time for meeting. At first to him need to get permission elders. Therefore she will wait there, and the main one heroine replies that there are no problems. Young woman understands that this excellent, and believes that it is time for her to act. A little time later, she walks through the garden and realizes that in the original stories, Marquis Berto, who was one of main heroes, visited the Duke's estate. He accidentally found the very herb that led to successful negotiations with the Kalinos house. Everyone went berserk when the estate discovered a plant that was considered extinct. Young woman understands that if she remembers correctly, the grass was in the service badge of one of the servants, therefore she can't allow this. The scoundrel finds him first. A little time later, home the heroine is already in service servants' quarters and welcomes all. One of the servants claims that he does not think that they met earlier, and asks if she got lost lady, after all, this official premises. After what is he asking for her to leave this place, but the girl answers that she came to the address, and is looking around territory. Her companion says that nevertheless, the nobles should not visit quarters for servants, and there are boundaries that are not worth step over. Girl only passes by him, and claims that she doesn't care, because she wants look around. Giselle begins inspect. Everyone understands that in the original, the grass was on the icon. After what she notices, one of the servants, and, pointing at him, cries out to that approached her. The man asks lady, what happened? But the girl points to the badge on his chest, and asks if it's possible should she look at him. The guy asks why, but the lady answers that just for a minute, and then immediately takes it off. Heroine understands what the original said. What if the icon squeezes whoever has mana, will miss weak throbbing electric charge on the surface. At that very moment, the girl feels this charge and understands that this excellent, while the servant is screaming, is this even possible? Who else? Runs into the room. Young woman says that can think as if she steals it, but she just wants look at him nearby, and is interested. It is impossible whether. The servant says that okay, but at the same time the person who ran into the room screaming, what's going on there? It turns out he's a teacher, and he's wondering why Lady Free moves around the territory unaccompanied estates. Giselle says that, this after all Mr. Agnes, and is interested in whether it has passed, whether meeting fine. She got bored until she was waiting for him, and she wanted to take a walk after, why did you wander into this place? But what's more important, is that she found something very interesting. A little time later, the girl is already going to the elders, and Hennessy greets her. Young woman claims that she is glad to meet them, and believes that this their first meeting, after what says that she darling the Duke's bride, whom they called Giselle Florette. One of elders are in shock. He thinks he misheard whether them. After all, really, she only that she called herself beloved. Chairman Advice says okay, and asks if it's okay. Is everything okay? Elder Agnes. Because he doesn't look well. The man replies that everything is fine. After what, Chairman wonders what brought the lady to the council. Heroine stretches out this one hairpin and claims that she just wanted them something show. The man wonders if this is not a servant's badge, but a girl answers that yes, but he is not simple. One of the servants said that when squeezed this icon, that one pricked his hand, and the badge seemed to would sparkled. That's why she wants that. They were in this ourselves convinced, and offers compress this icon. One of participants' advice skeptically refers to the lady, and claims that a simple badge will not do any good. But when he squeezes it, it immediately changes your own opinion, and, noticing this one reaction, screams, "Really, is this Halone's grass?" Someone asks why she located inside the icon, and how I ended up there in general, and also really were observed conditions cultivation. Someone else congratulates Elder Agnes, and claims that he will be able to finish your own research. The man understands that finally, his goblin slime will be ready. But one of participants' advice, wondering if the quantity is not enough, only for one potion. Maybe you need to start with, find out how grow grass to cook more potions. Home heroine asks who said that nobody knows, and let it be, they'll just give her 2 hours and do it themselves. Will be convinced. Her teacher immediately screams, "Really? Lady wants say that she knows how can grow up this grass." Young woman answers that yes, and her inspired a romantic novel, that I read it yesterday. One of advisors screams that, now is not the time for jokes. But at the same moment, the chairman advice asks, will it be, is it enough for her? This time, he understands that it seems to be another plan of the girl demonstrate your worth publicly in front of them. Teacher in this time addresses the gentleman. Hennessy wonders if he really believes her, because young woman even not yet a duchess, but an outsider lady, to which the man replies yes, and the main one heroine asks if they will allow it, whether they tried it on her. A little time later, lady stands in front of the instruments from laboratory, and understands that way cultivation herbs, Halanisa simple. If mixed seeds Majenka, which usually are classified as weeds, with Kamenduyoi, brought to a certain temperatures, then Haloni's grass will sprout from them. In the original, Berto stories by chance came across this, thanks to the servant's badge, but this was a fictitious scene, just would demonstrate genius the main character. A little time later, home heroine says that everything is ready, and understands that she will simply take credit for his achievements, for which to him, huge thank you. One of participants, the council, is shocked, screams, really from seeds? Has Halone's grass sprouted? And the other claims that he thought it was plant died out, so how is that possible? Maybe. Agnes screams that now he will finally be able to finish your own research, and the man thinks he's probably dreaming. Everyone congratulates him. The elder, and the main one, heroine wonders why congratulations receives only elder. The man asks, what about this she? But he has it. Now it's Halone's grass. Girl asks how he did it received, to which the man replies that, now this lady them to everyone will tell way. But the main thing heroine claims that she after all never said that, will share these knowledge. The man is in shock, asks about what this she, and claims that the lady is a future duchess, so quite it's natural that she share this is for the good of the duchy. But the girl claims that she after all has not yet become a duchess. She, after all, it's not as stupid as, maybe it seems so, why share it? So a valuable gift? The man says that nevertheless, this potion is created for the benefit of the people, and this is not real, a noble deed. Home heroine claims that elder yelled at her, and even threw it at her book, so she nothing will happen tell. Rest participants advice they ask, really she speaks the truth. The man immediately bows and cries out that to him, it's a pity because he didn't do it right away, admitted madam. After what is he asking for take pity on him, and bring the most deepest apologies, therefore asks open them this secret. Young woman claims that he knows regrets better total are expressed in sincerity and money, therefore, if he's really sorry, then let the man pay her a fee. Her companion says that, okay, and it will give 10% of the net arrived. Girl claims that emotional trauma from behavior elder Agnes is quite big. The man claims that then he will give 15%, and the girl says that she suddenly something went wrong. Her companion claims that he will give 20% of the profit or more. Can't give, otherwise they will bear alone losses. Home heroine, he says it's a deal, but the girl claims that she will one more condition, and they will turn on gentleman Hennessy as another researcher to the project. A man from this little is surprised, and the main one, heroine understands, that in this way Agnes's reputation will suffer, while how Hennessy, who now on her side, will achieve more recognition that will only benefit her. The man asks why she decided so, but the girl wondering if there is a problem after all, then she believes that the gentleman won't be able to finish the goblin slime. Agnes says, okay, let's go, it will be like this. A little time, after a while the teacher continues training and is interested. I heard whether lady, what the previous Duke of Garneau Kalinos now, is located on the eastern continent. Home heroine claims that study history Kalinos isn't as fun as it seems she thought, after what she wondering if there is something more there interesting. Her teacher claims that of course it is, maybe be a little boring. He also thinks that need to be calmer, after all. Now it's Halone's grass is in power this girl's, and the lady asked to continue watch her. A day ago, Juliana, I turned to the guy, and said that it looked like Giselle managed to restrain him. The man replied that he wouldn't have said that, and there was definitely something there, something strange. For the first time when they met, she seemed to him just another one immature lady, but despite her carefree look, she capable defend their interests. He didn't have time come to my senses. How Elder Hennessy I took her side, and she definitely has a charm that attracts people to itself. Woman offers Agnes to be careful when he talks about elders, and the man asks forgiveness. Her interlocutor claims that in any case, let him continue watch the lady, because from this moment, he must keep an eye on everyone her step. Home heroine in this time says that then maybe instead, he will tell her stories about research laboratories. Her companion agrees and claims that in the estate, Kalinos, located as many as 3 research centers. This is Personal Research Duke's Laboratory working under management elders, and small laboratory under the guidance of Madame Juliana. Also, there is some nearest assistance, where create magical tools. The duchy's laboratories produce not only swords and armor, but also potions, artifacts, and much more other. Home heroine interested, does the lady have Juliana has her own laboratory? The man replies that yes, because in the end, she was once a magician. Giselle asks, if it's true this is, after all, then I would be happy to someday visited laboratories of the duchy. The man apologizes, but claims that only elders can there visit, and to outsiders, entrance prohibited. But lady claims that she will soon become part of the Kalinos house, and besides, she helped with Mucus Goblin. Young woman understands that in the original, Goblin Slime stories had incredible effect, but failed in sales due to hopelessness marketing Kalinos, having given in to the garbage potion Marquise Berthaud. But if she will intervene under pretext received for it fee, then he won't be able to fail like last time. But she won't allow such a failure, because the stakes are high. It's 20%. With good marketing, she will be able to earn money only on my share, no less billion. This means that she will have at least 1.7 billion in her hands. With that kind of money, she will be able to hire an excellent mentor in magic. A little time later, the maid comes into the room and apologizes for the fact that interrupted. The teacher asks what happened, and the woman answers that a letter arrived from Madame Juliana, addressed Lady Giselle. When home heroine finishes reading it and gets up with his own places, then the teacher asks what is written there. Young woman, she replies that she needs it, urgently, need to meet with Count Fleuret. Because she needs it, prepare wedding dowry. In this time in Imperial Palace, someone asks, have you heard? Whether his colleague's latest news. One of them asks what kind, and the guy replies that, they say that Duke Kalinos today will be present at the meeting advice. The main one's uncle heroines, in this time, thinks that to him, I wonder what Giselle is busy now, and he hopes that the meeting won't drag on. Someone else claims that it had been a long time since the Duke had last paid his respects. They're your own presence at state events. Another guy claims he heard he has a girlfriend, his colleague wondering if it really is that's true, and if she 2-meter troll, then quite maybe be. Someone else asks, really? This is not for the best, because once he has a lady, he will most likely will hurry north for his wedding. Count Fleuret notices that today, everyone is talking about Duke Kalinos. It is obvious that he continues in his manner, study monsters, and better would Giselle stay away from someone like him. At the same time, someone continues talking about marriage, and asks what's going on with the lady, Giselle. After all, they say that she pestered many people, young people, begging for an engagement, and thus disgraced her family. People ask, have you heard? Whether the Count knew about this. The man asks what they are talking about. They say, but his interlocutor argues that rather in total, he doesn't know anything, because for a long time was absent. But the Lady Giselle acquired bad reputation because of its sympathies for the Marquis Berthaud and Duke Le Chaniel. They say that at the last ball, they even threw onions at us. The man is in shock, screams, really, she was pelted with onions? To which his interlocutor replied, answers that yes, because she divorced in disgrace and ran away. But what a pity for Count Fleuret. After all, to him, have to decide questions, such problematic lady. At the same moment, the man hits the table and screams out, they stopped. He also wondering how they dare to talk about his daughter like that. Let them. They'll take it away right now, take his words back. Otherwise he cannot vouch for himself. His interlocutor asks why the Count is talking to him in such a tone, but the man replies that he was the one who started being rude first. In this time in the room, the Duke comes in and states that meeting, it hasn't even started yet, and it's already so noisy there. After, what is he interested in? What is going on there? Participants' meetings, they say, his lordship, and that they were just discussing scandals involving Lady Giselle, and then Count Fleuret. But at the same moment, the Duke asks, they say whether they are about the Lady Giselle, and his interlocutor replies that everything is so, after which the Duke immediately grabs him by the hair and hits him face down on the table. The man claims that he is clearly not in a position to be so careless, mention her name. The Count, watching this, thinks what is happening there, and why this human stands up for Giselle. The Duke tells the Count not to worry too much. Because of this, after all, they will meet him soon. After what is, he a little edits his phrase, and directly offers to him meet soon time. When meeting ends, the Count comes out, and understands that in the end it dragged on. The man also thinks that this was with Duke Kalinos today. But at that very moment, he sees main heroine who turns to him, and asks if it's over. Is there a meeting already? Man immediately approaches the lady, and asks what brought her there. The girl answers what she needs. I had to talk to the Count and was wondering if he would pay any attention. Did he give her a minute? A little time later, they are already sitting in a cafe, and the man claims that he would. I never thought she liked them such places. Lady claims that she just wanted to spend time with the Count. Home heroine recalls how the maid said that Lady Juliana wants to choose a wedding date and also meet the families. Also for wedding should be prepared dowry, and she is interested, remembers whether Lady about it. Now home heroine thinks, what is this housemaid daring? And really she thinks that she doesn't have enough dowry. Young woman also turns to the Count and asks if he likes it, whether him coffee. The man replies that he drinks it often, and he also likes to add spices brought from travel, tea, coffee, and other dishes. Is probably why spices are expensive after all. What is a man interested in? Whether her spice business. Girl answers that she think about it, and who he knows. After all, suddenly she someday will be able to help the Count. Man in this time clenches his fists and thinks that costs only think about it. With such bright and kind a girl could be treated like that. He was very mistaken when trusted Mariposa. After what does he think? Why? When to him, it was difficult to take care of the child. He suddenly decided, find your friend's artifact. At that time in it, as if moved in ghost, and he became obsessed with one, purposefully and blindly followed her. In the last time he tried hold back, but now understands that there is no point regret the past, because from this moment, he will be take proper care of Giselle. The man says to she, became a magician, and took up business, as well as did everything she could, I'll want to. But if think, he was never able to find her a new mentor, because of the Discovery Academies. He also wondering what lady thinking about going to the academy. Heroine asks, doesn't think is he that, you can't accept it, after all she is already past her age receipts. Her companion claims that, that's right, and he's interested. Is there? Does the lady have any wishes? Young woman answers that there is one, and she wants to talk about the missing amount in the book accounting, which led Sir Kima. If she will find out where share these money, then she interested, gave I wish he would give them to her. The man replies that of course, and if she there finds, then let takes, but track funds without any records are not so easy. Young woman, he replies that everything is fine, and asks questions, promises should he give it away? Them all to her, to which the man replies that he promises. And the main one heroine understands that that's how they are, will be able to decide the dowry issue. And a little time later she already reports this to the Duke. The man said that, this great, and it's already working. The future father-in-law has glasses. This means that their chance of getting married is significantly increased. But first, he wonders if maybe whether offer her your help. Home heroine asks, with what? And her companion says he means Mariposa Florette. He also is interested in, plans whether lady take revenge on her, after all, if that he can help her. Home heroine wonders how he found out about this, and the man says that he knew something I understood, judging by her actions. And to him, I want his partner to concentrate exclusively on its own missions. If he wishes, he can take advantage of influence his own families. Or is he even ready? Offer yourself to her. Home, the heroine immediately gets up and claims that this sounds great. After wondering what about going on a date tomorrow? At the time when Giselle and Viatan are discussing their plans, then in the estate of Count Florette, the Count turns to Mariposa and asks if she was whether she knows everything, rumors that they talk about Giselle. Woman answers that yes, and then her companion wonders why she didn't try them refute. Mariposa tells his brother that she offended, and of course she is to blame for the fact that she didn't take proper care of the girl, but is it fair to blame her for all the bullying? She also threw a lot past, returning to the family after his own divorce, but Giselle is all he cares about, and he never believed not a single word of hers, but to her, easily, he has no idea how much she took care of her, and how hard she tried. The man says that even if that's the case, then the fault is still on the one who brought the situation to this point. All these years she was head families, and too carries responsibility. Woman says, is he about responsibility? Chapters their family, and claims that this time she will take over responsibility. After what woman shows invitation from family Kalinos, and the Count is interested in where them to know who at all they such. Woman says that all this time she managed the family affairs, and thinks that he is interested in the coffee shop, which she controls. If he takes it off her home arrest, then tomorrow she will prove that useful for them families. Woman understands that that's what she said, but if today does not dispose Duke Kalinos, then with her will be it's over. I was able to shut the staff up, so no one will tell my brother how she mocked Giselle, but sooner or later he's late anyway. We'll get to the bottom of the truth. Therefore today she must become friends with Duke Kalinos. A little later, the guy enters the coffee shop. The woman understands that, here then the brother won't be able to push it away so easily, her into the background, and his fixation on this to the girl, it will finally end. The woman immediately turns to his lordship and says that he is already there. But looking at him, she understands that the rumors were not lying, because he has face-present assassin. Mariposa thanks him for his visit and asked whether he was about to meet her. The man replies that yes, and he wanted to introduce her with his own bride. Woman interested, then whether it is that he has a lady who has honored the honor of becoming a duchess. His desire share this with them, joyful news, is this a great honor for their house? Woman thinks about the bride and understands that it means she somehow connected with the goal this meetings. Mariposa says that she already imagines what their lady is a beauty, and she is undoubtedly very noble and full-bodied. Grace. Woman also is interested. knows whether she her. After what does the Duke say that lady maybe log in? Home heroine comes into the room and says, of course, because like she already knows, she is noble and complete grace. Girl also asks, really this is wrong. The woman is in shock, screams, really, this Giselle, and wonders why she's there. Home. The heroine immediately grabs her husband's hand and asks what why means. After all, she is the Duke's bride. Mariposa turns to his lordship and asks if it is true. This, but the man is wondering if she really has some problems. Giselle understands that she, I hoped flatter future, the mistress of the house Kalinos. But seeing she lost all power of speech from shock, young woman asks how she is doing well. After all, they haven't seen each other for a long time because of her home arrest. When she learned that his lordship is going to, I wanted to meet her, then she wanted to tell her a couple of interesting things stories. Mariposa asks what it is more about the stories, and her interlocutor answers that, for example, rumors that she spread the word about her among the nobles. The woman is in shock, looks at this, and wonders what Giselle is wearing suddenly found. Girl answers that her, after all, raised with the belief that honesty is virtue, therefore she's just sharing what everyone already knows. It is known. Home heroine also asks why she would be better off start. 1 is daily swearing and constant ridicule. 2 is wearing old and worn dresses. 3 is attitude worse than to servants. And 4 is in the family solid quarrels, and also a real nightmare. And 5 is spreading rumors that she has no mana, and all sorts bullying her. Home heroine asks, surprisingly, whether this is because it turns out she has mana. She could continue, but this, it's starting to get tiresome. Home heroine understands that she's not like that. She's already special, so why is she taking so long? All this endured. Girl also says that lady claimed that she would like to do business with his lordship. But he doesn't have time, she answer how home heroine claims that, fortunately, there is idea better. After what she asks woman transfer ownership of the coffee shop to her, lady also claims that she needs dowry, and this coffee shop is perfect suitable for this. If she needs legal consultation, then let it be, she appeals. After 4 days, one of legal consultants claims that this is absurd. Confiscation, another aristocrat's business, is beyond comprehension and unthinkable, even for the nobility. That's why the lady will definitely lose. The case is in court. And for now, she didn't sign the contract, so the lady has nothing to say. Worry. Woman says that of course. And in what way would High know was her title? But there is boundaries that she should observe. Giselle Florette is disgusting scoundrel. And really does she really think that will be able to take her coffee shop? Woman also thinks, knows whether how much money she spent it on bribery for her sake openings. But at the same moment, the maid runs into the room and screams at the Lady Mariposa. What? This urgently. Woman asks what this time. But the girl screams that something has appeared at the entrance to the coffee shop. A little time later, woman sees this own with eyes. She's in shock, asks what the hell this is, after all, which crazy built a wall right in front of the coffee shop. Someone else claimed that, if lady finds out, then they end. And the other, I asked if they could whether they at all today open up. But one of workers pushed the elder, and insisted that he should do something already. He must be thankful Lady Mariposa for the opportunity work there, and if buyers they see that he is limping, then their sales will sag. When a man falls, a note falls out of the pocket. One of workers screams that, if the cafe doesn't open, they'll lose everything, work, and the other notices the note and reaches for it. It turns out to be a note from the daughter, who says that she knows that dad tries hard at work, and she loves him. The man claims that his daughter wrote this for him, and his interlocutor only laughs and claims that he has a crippled father, daughter writes in scribbles. But after all, what only can expect from such families? The older man understands that, to him, need to endure. After all, it is forbidden breakdown because of the insults. It's hard for someone like him to find a job. But at that very moment, someone else comes up to the coffee shop and asks, really, someone built a wall right in front of her. Young woman also asks who had the nerve to do this to commit. But in thoughts adds that of course, she is the queen of scandals and shamelessness. Behavior is located right in front of them. One of workers asks, really, this Giselle Florette? And wonders why she's there. In this time, one of workers asks madam, it's worth it whether them resume construction, to which she replies that they can continue. The worker immediately shouts at the lady, and says that she immediately explained what she had in mind. He screams that this blatant hooliganism, and let it be she immediately will demolish the wall. Otherwise to him will have to report about to everyone. Lady Mariposa home heroine thinks, what was that guy's name? Well, in general, he seems to would be one of henchman Mariposa. A little time later, he asked lady, don't you think so? Does she know that Giselle is not suited to the status of a noblewoman? In this timid pose and worn, there is no clothing drops elegance. Mariposa, then she said that it's enough, and there's no need to say such things in the open. The servant also hooked lady tray of food, and said what he asked for. I'm sorry, I didn't notice her. She's such unnoticeable, that any would get into the same situation as him. He also asked, didn't I? A lady shouldn't dress accordingly. Home heroine thinks that they won't forget the fact that he even pestered her. It's scary to remember what it was like, pathetic she. Then looked, therefore, now young woman, takes one of desserts, and throws it on the floor. The guy is in shock, screams that she arranged it there, and the girl answers that strawberries in the parfait, turned out to be too much sour. Really? That's it, they're quality standard products. Lady also asks why he stood up, and let him brings her a new one, and the guy asks, "Really I broke a glass because the strawberries turned out sour." Home heroine wonders if the word of a noblewoman is really that, for him, empty sound, and does he really want say that she has bad taste? But still, she has nothing more to talk about with him, so let him call hostess. A little time later, Mariposa comes running there and screams, "What did the girl do there?" Home heroine wondering if she came, but she was waiting for Mariposa. The girl immediately shows her the document, and the woman asks what it is, such as well, why he pokes it in her face. Giselle claims that she was, I wonder how she is, finances this coffee shop, and it turned out that with the stolen money, Florette's house funds. In the report, which Kim's accountant handed it to her, the amounts didn't add up, or maybe she didn't know, because entrusted all your own employees. Woman after this asks how this Kima could such say, but the main thing heroine wondering if it's true. This now has meaning after all. If theft if it is confirmed, then on it will file judicial lawsuit. Before how she will end up in court because of the lawsuit, it is better let she will sign coffee shop transfer agreement. This is her last chance for redemption. Woman asks, really, she wants that. She transferred the coffee shop to her. She doesn't know what tricks the girl has learned recently. Time. But it screams, doesn't it? She thinks that she will fall for her provocations. But at the same time, the main heroine says to Mariposa Florette was realist. Really? She didn't warn her that this her last chance. If embezzlement case, if it goes to court, not only will it suffer, her son, Abyssina, same can exclude from families. So it's not better. Should I just refuse the coffee shop instead of taking the matter to court? The woman understands that, how no matter what she does, I wanted to. This I admit, but the girl is right. If her guilt is proven, then the situation Abyssinian is also in the house will falter. If it happens, then his chances of taking the place, the heads of the house, will be equal to 0. After what woman thinks that's fine, let it be young woman takes away, after all. It's just a coffee shop. But how only her son will lead family, then she will get everything back. Home heroine says that great. And then they came to an agreement. The girl with a smile on her face understands that she signed contract, but because of the non-disclosure clause, she won't be able to report everything to my brother. That's why she's better now lay low. But at that very moment, someone else addresses Mariposa Florette, breaks down the wall out of anger. This human claims that he came after, received anonymous message, that she appropriated money their families. But think about it just now. It turns out it's true. Home heroine asks, really, this anonymous message? And says that, who could send it? Woman screams, really, this was Giselle, and if there is, what let it be said, then she speaks, this is for her. As well will stop staring so intently, look at the child. The count claims he has cancelled arrest just for 1 day, for her sake meetings with the Duke of Kalinos. But she's not only appropriated money, as well as disobeyed his orders, and left the estate. The woman tells his brother that this is wrong. But the man claims that she doesn't need this either. There was little, and he also learned that exactly she spread all the dirty rumors about Giselle. He already clearly told her to treat her like his own daughters. That's why, now she lost all his trust. Mariposa cries out to her brother, and begs him to give her one last chance. But the man claims that he is sentencing her to exile. The woman immediately falls to her knees and screams that if the brother really expels her from family, then she will lose social status in society, and this akin to a death sentence. That's why she asks forgive her. But the man asks, really? She shouldn't be grateful that he did not sentence her to imprisonment life. Woman claims that she admits that she did wrong and will leave, but her the son didn't do it nothing bad, so let him allow, although would to him stay. Home heroine understands that she probably thinks that if he stays in the family, then someday he will help her come back, but wisely, whether this. A little time later, the boy screams to his mother and asks, is it really so? She wants say that her kicked out. Woman answers that, that's exactly it, but she more will return, so she needs him to stay at the estate. The guy thinks that his uncle really, I've gone crazy. After all, how could he kick out my own sister? But after all because of that girl who to him all told, that is Giselle Florette. If would only this stupid girl never appeared in their family, then mom never wouldn't be falsely accused, and he would have already been declared next successor. If would only it wasn't there this girl's, after why the guy takes a pillow and is going to strangle her. But the main thing the heroine immediately opens their eyes and pushes him away with magic. The girl says that, as expected, neither he nor his mother will change for anything your way of life and thinking. At the same time, someone else enters the room. The lady asks, that's all, does she have it? Fine. But at that very moment, the man sees gentleman Abyssina. The servant cries out that it's incredible, because, like the lady said, he really did broke into her room. The man also asks lady move away, after all this. It's dangerous, but the girl tells him not to worry because she's fine, after what tells him to bring better their count. The man screams that now he will do it this, and asks her a little wait. The guy after this asks what they are. Now they do it and it looks like I was waiting for this. Home heroine wonders if he still hasn't understood. After all, she knew that he would do something in the heat of the moment such will throw out. Exactly. That's why she asked Count Florette to assign a guard to her. Young man after this screams, really Giselle, I've gone crazy. But at the same moment into the room, the Count runs in and screams, okay, whether Giselle. Abyssin says, uncle, this is not what he thinks. And the man only asks if she got hurt lady. Young woman, he replies that no, But it will happen to her. All it's good when Abasana will be punished and expelled from families. The guy after this asks her just don't say that, exactly this. That is what she was trying to achieve. He cries out to his uncle and claims that Giselle set him up after what asks him to listen. But the man tells the guy to close his mouth. He also turns to the servants outside the door and orders immediately take him out. After all this, Human is no longer a member of his family. The young man screams to his uncle that this all lies and wonders how he can treat her like that with your own relatives. When he leaves, the Count apologizes to Giselle and claims that first his sister and now her son. He regrets that lady I encountered this. Home heroine says, "Uncle, that's it. Okay." And she more, "I was worried that it would be for him. This will be a shock." And Madame Mariposa delivered it to him so many troubles. The Count says that the child shouldn't be so worried about him because now there is no one left who could wound her slander or cause harm. That's why, if there is something that will be needed, or she wants let me find out, then let me will give he should know. Home heroine says that in such in her case, I have one request for the Count. A little time later, someone is sitting in the Giselle Cafe and saying that this coffee has a wonderful aroma. One of lady claims that she, I heard after, shifts. The owner began to be purchased more dear grains, and also they say that in the last time this place became interested, even imperial family. The Count, following the lady, thinks that, here why she, I wanted to get a cafe. He also says that the lady has done so well, and he is proud her. Girl answers that this all thanks to high-quality spices that the Count sponsored there, and her only merit is that she hired several competent employees. Girl understands that after Abasan was exiled, she received permission from Count Fleuret to run a coffee shop Mariposa. And the main thing is that what I did was fire a big one part staff, because everyone who was under Mariposa's command for sure would betray her later. Except for one person. When Lady I saw that he was walking with a suitcase, so she asked where he was going. After all, Mr. Liliva, we need to get ready for the opening. This one has men problems with his legs. But he was the only one employee coffee shop that didn't look at the customers, looked down on everyone and treated them with condescension kindly. In the original, he conquers History Location Emperor and becomes head chef at the Imperial Palace. At first, Mr. Liliv, with suspicion, treated her sudden offer, but probably his generosity and sincerity won him over, so he agreed to become the new chef of the coffee shop. The Count says that think about it just now, she was able to build such solid business. The lady has grown a lot, so he thinks that already now would begin look for suitors for her, but the girl replies that there is no need for this. After all, she already has one. Someone she is for is going to go out get married. The man is shocked, screams, why is he only now about this finds out? Home heroine, she replies that she simply didn't know what for. Madame Mariposa is capable of this, which is why she kept it a secret. And besides, she already received an offer. The man screams, who is it? And suggests that she just not say that this Marquis Berto or Duke Lechaniel. Home heroine asks why she should get involved with such trash, and the Count thinks, really this is not one of them, and then who is he? At the same time, someone else approaches them and asks if they are discussing whether they are his. After all, if so, then he came just in time. This it turns out to be Duke Kalinos, and the man says that he missed his expensive to the bride. He also claims that this their first meeting after meeting's advice, and asks your dear father-in-law, right? This is? Count after this wonders who allowed it, he should call him that. He is, of course, better in every way. Marquis Berto, or Duke Lechaniel, but why from she, is all men decided choose exactly villain. Even if he is a war hero, then he is everything equals, he doesn't like it. The Count also thinks that, here what did his words mean that they will meet soon, and now puzzle begins fold. That's why he flared up so much, because of Giselle. The man turns to his lordship and asks how long he has known Giselle. The Duke replies that they met at a banquet organized by their family, and he fell in love with her at first sight. Look, after that's what it became, write her letters. The Count understands that, so he's talking about a banquet, where announced their engagement, Giselle and Baron Milpion. The man tells his lordship that with all due respect, Giselle very young, no father would send his little one daughter in such dangerous northern edges. But the Duke says that, as the Count knows, in the estate, Fleuret Giselle same stay unsafe, therefore isn't it better? Would live in the north than be subjected to harassment here. The man replies that it is true that here she was surrounded by such people, but he was already away from everyone got rid of it, and now no one can harm Giselle. Vientiane claims that this good news, well, now after all, Giselle very wants to get married. Home heroine answers that it's true, and she wants go out and marry his lordship. The Count says that it is forbidden frivolously treat marriage, as it is only now maybe begin take proper care of her. But the girl answers that what she comes out getting married doesn't mean that she forever will leave him. She will come to the Count's estate every weekend. Then the Count says that in such case, let his lordship will give consent to, even after his daughter's wedding, every weekend visited family house. The Duke replies that no problem. Count after this asks Giselle, how much dowry do they have? Need to prepare. Home heroine asks about what it's him. After all, she has already received a dowry from the Count. The man is in shock, asks, really, she means this coffee shop? And the lady answers that, yes. But at the same moment, into the room, comes in the maid says, Madam, someone is looking for you wishes see. Girl asks who it is, and her interlocutor answers that this is Madame Juliana from the house of Kalinos. The Duke asks why. This suddenly mom arrived there, after what offers lady go together. But the main thing heroine tells the dear one that, all good, indeed she should go alone. Woman did it such a way that tell her something personally. In the meantime she's not here, these two can to chat. But when she leaves, then they stand in silence, because they really have nothing to discuss. When home heroine approaches Juliana, she says that, if I would have known that she would honor your own visit, then something I would cook. She also asks, okay, whether the lady got there, because the way there was from the duchy itself, not close. Woman answers that everything is fine. Before her, also rumors reached me that lady opened my own their business, and she wondering if it really is, this is the very one place. Home heroine answers that yes, and she owner this coffee shops. And this coffee shop is her dowry for a wedding. Woman understands that. How many would she? I didn't think so. But that's it equally cannot allow that this young, the lady became part their families. Nothing in it drops elegance. And the girl came out to her in dirty clothes apron. Woman also is interested, knows whether Count Fleuret knew about this marriage, to what young woman replies that of course, after all remains only have a wedding. She also says that mother should not address her so formally, and she maybe call her daughter-in-law, but the woman asks why she thought that maybe call her mom, to join the family and be accepted. How daughter-in-law is two different things. Woman also suggests getting down to business, because the lady probably already knows. The family is not happy wedding celebrations. After all, security, their territories constantly threaten monsters. As the head of the family, she cannot allow herself to follow such romantic traditions. Instead of this, she should exchange vows directly under observation members, families, but now they are located on the eastern continent, therefore this unlikely. Home heroine says that, then there will be mom, Count Taran, his lordship, and she. In total, there will be 4, but a woman answers that no. Eat another person she has to deal with meet. This, the former Duke of Kalinos, and the one who Neslan has not yet plunged into eternal sleep Kalinos. She may have had good luck so far, but convincing this human will, it's not easy at all. In secret place in the capital's Kalanos mansion, where lived previous chapters' families before emitted last sigh, due to injuries received in battles with monsters. Hidden tomb patriarchs. 5 years ago the previous duke concluded yourself there. And there was installed barrier, that visible only to those in whose body there is definite level mana. He lives, absolutely a life cut off from the outside world. Home heroine thinks that, here why the previous Duke of Kalinos was not mentioned in the original stories. Forced living alone for 5 years, he must be incredibly dark and scary human. But it's not worth it, show your fear. After all I was doing pretty well with Juliana before this moment. A little some time ago the Count said that what he accepts participation in the oath ceremonies does not mean that he approves this wedding. The Duke claimed that he would have, that's what I mean. But nevertheless, the man said that it was an honor for him again to meet such a great man. Home heroine understands that now she goes to the national hero, whose strength he recognized even the Count himself. And looking at the man in front of her, she thinks, really that's it Neslan Kalinos. The man in this time asks, really the girl is the one the guy marries. Home heroine wonders who this fragile and thin person is. Handsome man, middle-aged, he looks incredible weak. The Duke is in this time, points to his bride, and offers them get to know each other. He claims that young woman is the daughter of Count Seer, adopted into the family Fleuret, and as in the future, will become Duchess Kalinos. But at that very moment, Count Fleuret says that who he knows. After all, it's too early to talk about it now. And she, in the end, after all, she hasn't yet taken her wedding vows. Heroine understands that she was awkward bother sick man, but fortunately, the Count himself comes into play. Neslan says that he asks forgiveness, because his son, he was in a hurry. His interlocutor answers that, not at all, and thanks for being invited. The man after this addresses the Lady Giselle, and wonders if Count Seer, who mentioned, by any chance, not that one, the famous great magician. Lady answers that, all that's right, and the man says that here how, in his youth, he admired Count Sahara. He was one of those who wished adopt his magic abilities, while he remained in separate wing because of his illness. I didn't even suspect that daughter the respected matchmaker managed to blossom so much. The man replies that his lordship definitely basted eye. His interlocutor says that, of course, he's outside, himself with joy that his son takes as a wife the daughter of such a great man. He also thanks him for being a good man, her raised and brought into their family. He promises treat your daughter person, whom admires, better than anyone else. Home heroine understands that the atmosphere is too warm and friendly, nothing can be done, and she understands that he is sick, but a contract is a contract, so it's time to make a scene in the spirit of kindness, but naivety silly daughters of a great father. Home the heroine, at the same moment asks if it's true this, and then from this moment she will under his care. She addresses a man as a father, and understands that after this, I tried with all my might tune former Duke against myself. She behaved overly friendly, and spoke in a pitiful tone, and also on purpose spoiled the atmosphere. But everything turned out to be in vain. The man says that at least the table is modest, but he asks to treat oneself. He also claims that their new daughter-in-law, must have been terribly hungry after such long road, so let she is not shy and eats. Home heroine thinks that, it's strange, and why is it all, it suits me. In my thoughts, she asks him to get angry, although would because of her terrible table manners. But the man only claims that she eats so nicely and is interested. I like it. Does she like this dish after all? It from veal. Giselle understands that this is what it feels like to dry laundry in the sun, and she is feeling like her cleanse. The Duke is in this time addresses his, my father is interested, and likes it, whether to him, Giselle. The man replies that, of course, because how she may not like it. The guy after this smiles and claims that he knew that you'll like it, father. Then he will tell the real reason why they are located there. Young man takes out a piece of paper and states that Lady Giselle and he intend exchange today wedding vows. The man is in shock, asks, really, they are gathering sign now? His interlocutor answers that yes, and they will arrange ceremony, like only grandfather will return. Neslin interested, not too much whether this in a hurry. Today they only took place formal meeting, and then they will be follow all procedures. The guy claims that, as for the procedures, he has already reported to His Majesty. He blessed their marriage and promised to keep everything a complete secret. He even called responsible official to conduct a secret ceremony their weddings. His father wonders why the guy at all goes so far, and that a little is silent. After what looks at the lady and claims that it's because he wants to get married as soon as possible, this may be. Home heroine understands that this, he asks with his eyes her help. After what she hugs the Duke, and he claims that that's why he asks, allow them exchange their wedding vows. Giselle says that here he is dear, and she understands perfectly well how much you don't want to break up. The Duke claims that I fell into an eternal sleep without my beloved, and the girl asks if it's true this, but she doesn't even know that say. The man says that, think about it only, after all, they such sincere, and since that's the case, they can to proceed. The Duke says that great, and then he uses the same wedding oaths that once used father. First of all, he swears fully obey to his wife. Secondly, he swears unconditionally follow instructions his own wives, and live on the means that she to him gives. Thirdly, he swears even resurrect from dead, if wife to him will order. He reads the rest 2 points, and the Count thinks that this, as if would slave agreement. But it seems for Giselle, there is nothing bad in what was said. After why the man smiles and claims that he is referring to Giselle, as if it were my own daughters, therefore asks treat her unconditionally. Okay, the guy says he'll take it into account. This. The Count also addresses his daughter, and says that he will say frankly, if it becomes difficult, then she always may return. Home heroine answers that she understands. But at that very moment, Juliana rises from the table and leaves. Taryn excitedly addresses mother. And the Manhwa heroine only claims that from this moment she is Duchess Kalinos, and asks dear, right whether this. The guy replies that of course, and kisses her hand. Lady thinks that maybe this is considered a marriage of convenience without love. But marriage remains marriage. So her heart, a little is worried. But a little time later, the heroine is already lying down near the Duke, and thinks, what the hell is this? Take it for the situation. A little time ago, Neslin claimed that for happiness in marriage, the newlywed should to have something old, and something new, something borrowed on loan, and something blue. Exactly 4 things. The Duchess will give Lady something old, so he wanted to give something new. He made this teddy bear, with my own hands, and dreamed of someday present it to your daughters, if would he got it. He also asks Lady, what is she doing? Thinks, likes, does she like it? Girl understands that he must have been incredibly bored there, loneliness. Think about it only that he even sewed soft toy with his own hands. The man claims that, to her, for your information, all the decorations on this dress are artifacts. He always wore interesting spiritual and mystical things, so they may have multitude strange and curious functions. The man is interested, will take whether Lady Bear. Home. The heroine immediately takes it and thanks his lordship. She understands that kind father-in-law is the best. The man also asks if the lady will also look into the extension tomorrow. She, of course, wasn't obliged to, but it would be nice if I wish she had it worked. Home heroine wonders why he looks so pitiful. This reminds her of those times when I worked part-time, and now lady is worried. Young woman answers that she will come, and her companion joyfully asks if it's true, this. The man also looks at his own son, and that one claims that, if lady I agree, then so be it. Neslin claims that Vientiane, there is beautiful ability rid other people. Honestly speaking, he partially doubted, did not intimidate, is he a Lady Giselle or something like that. But what the more he looks at the guy, the more certifies that this really love forever. Home heroine thinks that we need to get out of there before he comes back again. Didn't notice her, and claims that to father follows good, take a rest, so they will go. The Duke claims that then, since it's already late, he'll take it off barrier, with an extension, and bows out. After all, today, it begins their honey month. Home heroine thinks that that's right, and before that, she was so fixated on money that I didn't even think about it. Well, from this moment, she should sleep in one beds with this man. Girl understands that she's been around all her life, worked, and was never in a relationship. And now she needs share a bed with a man with whom I didn't even kiss. To top it all off, thanks to magical potion, that this in the morning gave her Hennessy, she restored mana more than 20%, so her 5 senses sharp, how never. When young woman turns around and sees in front of him unbuttoned shirt, her husband, and that under it, young woman takes away look and understands that her husband's posture is like this seductive that she thinks she will begin insomnia. Young woman also thinks, doesn't try. Is he serious at this rate? Seduce her. But when she sees that unbuttoned shirt more, then screams at him to slow down and wonders why he is doing this at all, undresses. They only pretend a couple, therefore really, there is necessity follow the rules of this married couples. The guy is from this, a little is surprised, and the main one heroine wonders if he has realized it, this only now, after what she offers, he just has to lie down sleep, and that one agrees. When these two they lie down, then the main thing heroine wonders if he's really just going to sleep. But, turning to him, the lady understands that he, between by the way, it's really very true beautiful, and here it is, what means look like a sculpture. This, the first time ever, I felt the warmth of the person next to me, but lying with someone is much better, warmer and more pleasant than she thought. Maybe be because of the warmth of his body, her makes me sleepy. Then, home heroine finally falls asleep, and the guy opens eyes. He understands that for the first time, sleeps with someone next to him, but this breath, for some reason it doesn't irritate me at all. Not in any of them, he didn't read the book that breath sleeping human sounds so nice. After which, he also pulls his hand to his hand lady. He thinks, why is everything that concerns this girl's such special? At the end, in the end, entering into such a marriage turned out to be not so already bad idea. But then the guy remembers his in childhood, a little. After a pause, he clenches his fists and realizes that he doesn't need it think about stupid things. Let him remember what his late wife said, daughter-in-law. After all, he won't be able to create happy family in this house where people fall into eternal sleep. The guy understands that he will play his role in this. A fictitious marriage is flawless. Since agreed to this, everything is the same as always, and nothing changes. But a little time later, home the heroine is already lying on his shoulder, and the guy understands that this is with the exception one things. The Duke says that she too much close, and when lady he wakes up, and is in shock, jumps back. Fintian claims that his reflexes are impressive. Heroine wants more to say something, but the guy claims that he is leaving for work. Giselle wishes to him good luck. A little bit. Time later, the girl is already desperate sitting on the sofa. She understands that. Think about it only now, the whole next year, she must carry out each night like this, after what claims that it's all because of the potion that she drank yesterday. Looks like her 5 feelings became so heightened that she unconsciously, I was looking for warm place. But by the way speaking, when she looking at this teddy bear, one cannot help but admire it. In this world, artifacts are divided into 2 types. The first type is artifacts exclusively for magicians who require use their internal mana. And the second type is artifacts that can be used without mana. It's amazing that this bear has both species attached to it. When she hugs the bear, says that loves her, and the girl understands what is on him. Even some kind of saccharin outdated the magic of recording has been cast. By the way speaking, are there any magical things in this world? Tools recording like? In any case, it's a paradise for lovers, outlandish artifacts. She knew that go out marry representatives, famous, magical families was good idea. And she probably should. Look at others artifacts that her father-in-law gave it to her. But then lady notices some letter with a note. When she unfolds her, then it is written there that to him it's a pity, and that more, maybe say father, who survived own child. How such worthless a man like him can show oneself duchess. Home heroine. He thinks, what on earth is this letter? At the lady's such feeling that I saw something I shouldn't have, was like, girl, also feels like someone is watching her now. When home heroine she goes out into the corridor, understands that, maybe swear that she felt like someone was watching her, or maybe it played out her imagination. Young woman understands that she is better off pretend that I haven't seen this, and it's just a marriage of convenience for 1 year, so there's no need delve into this history. Although she still has a little, I wonder who wrote it, but at the same moment, someone behind lady claims that those who wrote this letter was him. Home, the heroine is in shock, turns to his father-in-law and thinks how he ended up there, and also wondering if it really is. This was his letter. Then she says that, returns it back, and she didn't read it. The man says that their new daughter-in-law, she is tactful too, pretends as if she didn't read it, although she clearly did. This is Giselle. Understands that she didn't try at all be tactful, and if she will hear prehistory, then her determination be villainous will fall apart. Lady claims that each family's there is their stories, and she pretend that doesn't know anything. That's why stretches out to him this letter. But the man replies that no, and now she became a part their families. So it came time to know. It happened a long time ago, when demonic lands were shrouded demonic energy. He's together with his eldest son, went to the front, and took this step for protection their people. They were unlucky enough to be trapped in a cave. Illusions created demonic creatures. Their army lost many people, including his lieutenant and his superior son. That's how he ended up forced to drag pathetic existence, burdened guilt towards his wife and family, as well as Duke Vientine, to whom had to take burden families on themselves. He lived for 5 years inside barrier. After what does he thank dear, and claims that he is really outside himself with joy, that he has now there is daughter-in-law. After the eldest one's immersion into eternal sleep, which was so kind a child, in their house at all the warmth disappeared, but words cannot describe how it became happy with the arrival of the cheerful daughters-in-law. Maybe he's just getting old, and it's too much for him to indulge in sentimentality like this. A little unusual. Home heroine thinks, how can she should make a scene after I heard something similar? She also stretches out a handkerchief for a man wipe away tears, and that one thanks her. He also asks the lady cannot misunderstand him. After all, she is not obliged to be joyful all the time. She just lives the way she wants. Heroine says that, here as, and understands that this very bad. After all, she is weak towards such small, fragile, and wounded people. A little time after, one of maids thinks that I am grateful to God for that she wasn't caught. As the lady said, Caitlin, it's good that she tiny like dirty wastewater rat. She secretly followed and did recording, and therefore she won't be there hit on the head like usually. Because Lady Caitlin stores her secret, she should work for her harder than for anyone else. She needs it, go straight to her and report. A little time later, home heroine sighs and says that it's been going on for more than a day or two, so it becomes difficult to continue and avoid the father-in-law. Thanks to the fact that she distorted the original plot, the power of its narrative has been greatly weakened, and it seems that even there are people who I liked it from the very beginning. Because of this, it's becoming so difficult to play the role of a real villains, and the girl thinks it's worth it should she start do things that make people disillusioned with her. But the maids assigned to her, after all, everyone is like that kind. One of them says that it is an honor for her to serve lady of this house, and the other one claims that she will do everything possible to not a single story about her leaked beyond the walls this house. Now home heroine, wondering if there really is no one like Nizlana, who I would just feel disgusted by her and declare that will never accept such daughter-in-law, so that she with calm soul made a scene. But at the same moment, someone asks one of lady, really? She achieves that her right now kicked out from families. Woman claims that this disgusting behavior, vulgar taste, and voice like a beggar, her absolutely everything about her irritates me. One of maids claims that she will be corrected. Home heroine understands that this after all eldest maid, and I heard that all the maids in the Kalinos house are short noblewomen, but this one woman ruthless. Home housemaid turns to Ludenshaw and says that Pearl the earrings don't fit maid like her, therefore she will give them. But the girl claims that Home the maid never returned the earrings Excellus when I picked them up last time. Woman wondering if it really is, lady dares to contradict her. Home heroine understands that this eldest maid by name Caitlin Ronas, she also is aunt the current Count of Ronas. In the original, they for the first time met at a secret secular meeting organized Marquise Berthaud several months later. Woman screamed like can put on such beautiful earrings with such a cheap dress, and let the girl doesn't tell her that she stole them. In the end, this woman tore it off her earrings, donated by Count Florette. Heroine understands that she still takes into her hands everything that she can, I'll want to. And what is it like? Vile. Young woman thinks, how is this possible? It's convenient after all, it turns out that she needs it, was the villain whom can punish. At the end ends with villains should sort it out other villains. And besides, she can't stand it when people who she was insulted, they come out dry water. Young woman pours out your tea out the window, and it goes straight to the main page maid. Woman screams that, hey, it's hot. Giselle says, what is she like? Clumsy, and wonders if the tea got on Caitlin. Woman screams to the lady. Giselle asks what trait she creates. Girl answers that she just wanted to pour out the tea, but who knew that she stands below? Home heroine also asks why she was standing there. Well, the main thing housemaid claims that such the behavior seems to contradict etiquette. Giselle answers that she didn't know. After all, abandoned lessons, etiquette in the middle. She also is interested, knows whether woman, what at all, means etiquette. This is proper manners which must stick to everyone, of course. Young woman also asks why with them, then it is not possible to discuss etiquette and manners in detail from start to finish. One of maids whispers another, that lady in the window after all is Mistress Giselle. Another whispers that perhaps yes, and one of maids says that maybe she opposes main maid. But another one replies that it is unlikely, because everyone who once contradicted Lady Caitlin were expelled, and the title younger ladies, it doesn't change anything. Lady Caitlin possesses full trust main ladies, and no one in the Kalinos house dares recklessly her bother. Woman in this time clenches his fists and says that good, and also let lady waiting her there. When woman leaves, then one of the maids understands that young madam seemed different from the others. But after that she behaved with the Lady Caitlin, she believes that her immediately thrown out. Woman in this time bursts into the room to the heroine, and screams that even having become the mistress of the House of Kalinos, really she intends to continue to stain name families so unworthy behavior. Home heroine says whether she is about her, and she sees everything in such a way that Caitlin know better. Earlier she tried get your hands on the jewelry maid. And how can it be? It will turn out that eldest the maid who should set an example, coveted the jewelry ordinary maid. Shouldn't the servants of the family behave worthy of the name? Family? Woman screams about what this she, and insulting her, is the same as insulting her mistress, Lady Julian. Therefore, she immediately will report this madam. Home heroine says that let she runs complain, and when will if he reports, then let him not forget to ask, it is permissible whether maid raise, cast your vote on the Duchess. A little time later, Juliana turns to Caitlin and states that I heard that this in the evening, she has a rose conflict with the Duchess Kalinos. Madame also asks how housemaid thinks, and for what reason she watched through fingers on her thieves' little hands, and slander towards others. Woman answers that is because she helps filter out weak, not allowing them join the family. Her interlocutor answers that that's right, and in this consists of her work, but let she doesn't cross devil. Son duchesses after all her business is this serve. Now housemaid understands that because of that woman, Giselle Florette, she unnecessarily incurred indignation. Ladies, Juliana, and her plan, which she's so hard worked, almost collapsed. That's why she should will get rid of it before she more will get on her nerves. The woman immediately turns to Ivanka and says that girl from this moment I was following Giselle more carefully and also reported on each little things that she does. The girl immediately agreed. A little time later, home heroine sits on a bench and realizes that I guessed that something was wrong there. But from the very beginning, her quarrels with Caitlin, she feels someone's gaze on her, and it seems as if since then she are being pursued. Considering that surveillance appeared after her quarrels with Caitlin, then it's more likely in total, her spy. Maybe she should take advantage of this chance to catch him and see if he's right, But the main thing heroine, she thinks how she can catch it. At that very moment, a chestnut falls into her hand, and the girl thinks, really, there's a spy in the tree right now. When home heroine raises mind look, then understands that the man who I was following her really was on the tree. But she thinks, why is it a spy? Such slow-witted, she immediately turns to the man in the tree, and he claims that he is watching her. Let this spy, it's coming down. After all, she won't scold him, so that let him not force her weight. But after this, follows only silence, and the main thing heroine thinks he's not going to give up without a fight. So it seems she has no choice but to, take advantage of magic. But at that very moment, the girl sitting on the tree realizes that she has my hand slipped. And at that very moment, she falls from a tree. Home heroine understands that after all, I haven't had time yet, use magic wins. The maid in this time says that she is in so much pain. And the main thing is heroine thinks, really, this child. The girl immediately bows and cries out that she is sorry. Ivanka claims that she just wanted to climb a tree and didn't do anything wrong. Giselle interested in their name, whether her Ivanka, after what extends his hand to her. Baby thinks what she did because she did something bad, so she'll definitely get hit. She immediately cries out that she is sorry and asks not to hit her. But the main thing the heroine immediately picks up Baby and says that like this. Girl asks, really the lady is not going her scold. And the main thing heroine answers that she's not that much. It's terrible to reproach a child simply for spying on her. Home heroine also thinks how can she maybe scold such baby. And besides, she's clearly not in very good shape, good form. Young woman claims that the baby has all the clothes got dirty, so she urgently need to take a bath. Ivanka thinks, really under pretext wash myself she wants to take her away, so that beat up. That's right, it can't be such that someone was for real kind to her. And I'm sure that she's about to become it hurts. But a little time later, they really do come to the bathroom. Home heroine bathes girl and claims that now she clean and still sweeter. Girl understands that from her, it doesn't stink anymore. Aristocrats never wouldn't do it, personally take care of the maid, and this one the girl took it and washed it her. And really, she really doesn't intend to beat her. Home heroine says that the smallest robe she has, there is, but the baby still drowned in it. She also turns to the girl and says that after all, maid Ivanka answers that yes, and she came to work a maid in the Duke's family. Then home heroine says that if she maid, then why were you spying on her? Girl, she replies that she just has separate contract with the lady Caitlin. Home heroine says that, hear who forced her this to do. She also turns to the little girl and asks if it's really Caitlin treated her badly. The baby screams at that very moment that no, and she did that's because I wanted to. The girl immediately claims that she was wrong, but the main one heroine irons her on the head and claims that she didn't nothing bad. To everything guilt this idiot Caitlin, home heroine, also speaks baby, now a little to rest, and she will wash her clothes and return her. Home heroine also notices something on the floor, and when raises that maid understands that this after all secret letter that she was hand over Lady Caitlin. If the truth is revealed, then the maid will send her back to Count Loner's estate. Then her again will be cruelly beat up. Girl understands that she doesn't want this. At that very moment, they begin the tail and ears come out, and then she is completely turns into a hamster. Home heroine watches as she runs behind the screen. Baby in this time, she thinks what she should do, because her connection with the Lady Caitlin now revealed. Now from her get rid of it, like it's a lousy thing rats. Home heroine in this time turns to Ivanka and asks, is it really so? She is werewolf hamster. Girl only beeps like says she's sorry and apologizes for what she deceived her. After all, she total only filthy hamster. Giselle raises her in his arms and claims that she has no idea that baby says, but she incredible darling. Home, the heroine immediately hugs her, and the girl thinks, really she doesn't hate her for that she is dirty hamster. Lady asks, really she can't free turn into a human, and the baby answers that she becomes a person when comes out from state's panic. Home heroine says that she does not understand that she says, but this, maybe. And then let their little hamster calms down there, and will wash clothes. Baby understands that the woman called her not lousy a rat, but a tiny hamster. Ivanka understands that for the first time in my life, they didn't scold me at all, but even showed love by calling me a little hamster. And the girl thinks maybe whether this lady to be just an angel. When home heroine reads the letter, then understands that she kept wondering why Ivanka was such confused. There the girl wrote to her aunt that Marquis Berthaud will arrive soon, and let him. She remembers their agreement in the name of their prosperity. Home heroine understands that this is all connected to Caitlin, and really both families in collusion. One of Garbage main heroes are Marquis Berthaud. Count Ronus was his business partner. Home, the heroine still couldn't understand why in the original stories, information about Case's ducal house of Kalinos continued leak, and it turns out that it's Caitlin's merit Ronas. Home heroine understands that if business in the family Kalino's production will also collapse potion stops, then it will no longer be able to drink the potion mana for free. Well, and besides, it looks like she and also humiliated child, and this is already completely beyond the pale. Giselle claims that she is ready to endure anything, but she will not tolerate it when mock the weak. Then maybe it's worth it. Combine business with pleasure, throw out adored Caitlin, and make a fuss accordingly, their contract with the Duke. A little time after one of maids claims that young lady such good. Indeed, she gave it to them dear brooches. Other housemaid answers that, that's right, and she has more thanked them for taking care of her, though they were just doing their job and it's so touching with her sides. Another maid claims that she asked not to tell others that she gave them gifts, so madame such modest. A little time ago, home the heroine spoke to one from Lady, what previously Caitlin almost took it from her earrings, after what she handed her the brooch, and claimed that she, great will do, and if young woman will put on hers, then she as will appear opportunity take revenge. Housemaid understands that she never earlier, I've never seen anything like it, and where, for heaven's sake, is the lady took this brooch. She also gave instructions together with her, and now young woman thinks it will work out does she have. She also hopes that this will enough to throw out Caitlin. In this time, the maids greet main maid, and a woman asks, are we finished? Whether they already have work. But at that same moment, the woman notices brooch on clothes the maid, and asks where she got it from such expensive decoration. The maid replies that, there was a gift, and a woman wondering who gave it to him, it's for her. After all, even she wasn't given something like this. Maid asks forgiveness, and claims that she can't tell her. Elder the maid immediately screams, really she doesn't want to tell her. Let her more young woman he will say that he will not give it back her. The maid claims that she is wearing scratch, so she's not very beautiful, and next time, she maybe give her something at times more beautiful this. But the woman screams, what a girl dares to contradict her words. One of maids in this time squeezes his brooch and realizes that this definitely wrong. And the main one maid in this time looks at all the brooches on himself and says that this is so beautiful. She also turns to the maids and says that they after all know what will happen to them if they will blab about it. When she looks at another maid, then asks where she only such bad taste found. She also speaks to everyone. Now it's time to go back, because it's time to cook dinner. A little time later, home heroine is considering table, and says that dinner today, too delicious. Neslan, with a smile on his face, says that he is glad that she likes him, and is interested in whether he wants, whether lady, extra. Home heroine replies that yes, and thanks him. She also claims that she almost forgot. After all precious brooches given to her by the master Neslanam, she presented to the servants in gratitude for their help. She also asks if he doesn't mind whether sir, what for? That answers that, of course not, because she herself manages what is given to her, and the girl, well done. Home heroine asks if it's true, and thanks him for thinking so. Lady understands that today he too such kind, and think about it just now, she should to make a scene in front of such a person. Her conscience, it gnaws at me, but a contract is a contract, and the girl claims that she definitely, I'm sure that I didn't give the lady anything, Caitlin. Home heroine wonders where she got the same brooches that she gave it to the maids. The woman was shocked, thinks, really? There was a gift from the lady Giselle, but she should have. Check everything carefully, because who knows that she now will throw out. Giselle offers just don't say that she again took away jewelry from the maids. Woman asks about what this lady, after all I didn't take anything away. But at the same moment, the Duchess turns to Caitlin and asks what the lady is talking about, speaks. The maid claims that she seems to be young lady. I'm very glad that I became a lady this house, but she because it can't false blame the head maid. The woman immediately turns to the maids and asks who gave her these brooches, to which they respond that they personally gave away their lady Caitlin as a gift. Woman claims that it seems young. The lady misunderstood everything and asked girl, right? This. The maid also claims that she understands her sudden wish false accuse her. After that, she caught the girl in a secret meeting with a servant in the garden of the past at night. Madame, maybe try substitute her to get rid of. But at that very moment, someone hits with his hand on the table and asks Caitlin Ronas, who is she for? There accepts. And also, how she dares to say such things to the Duchess. But the woman claims that this can confirm and others maids. She devotedly serves, my lady has been around for many years, so why would she started to invent such history? That's why, isn't it strange blame her in theft without any evidence? Heroine wonders who said that there is no evidence. After what she offers Ludensha come up there, maid obeys madam. And the main one heroine claims that a bow-shaped brooch, which Ludensha wears on her chest, special. Home heroine asks Caitlin doesn't know, whether she, what this such. After what young woman begins use brooch and invites her to look carefully, because she will expose all the vile actions of a woman. After what, they observe the scene of how housemaid takes away decorations of the maids. The woman is in shock, asks what it is such, and the main thing heroine claims that in fact case it's not a brooch, it's what they call magical recording device. This little thing captured everywhere a disgusting act, but the woman screams out to the lady didn't lie. After all I've never heard of a thing that maybe record actions of another person. It is obvious that this fake, that's all. Know that something like magical recording, the device, simply doesn't exist in this world. But at the same moment, Neslan claims that this is not a fake. After all, he created it himself, and immediately would understood if what I saw in front of me counterfeit. The woman is in shock, asks, "Really, this device created former Duke, home heroine." Also thinks, really, Neslin created it himself, and it is not just a trinket for his collection. She hardly believed that he was a hero, because how can a hero look so weak? But it turns out she was very much mistaken. To the girl, I wonder how he created it artifacts, but she will ask about it later. Now, home heroine claims that everything is correct, because her father-in-law gave it to her in case she used when will be needed. She also claims that she has, there is, and more like that. Home heroine hands a piece of paper to the former Duke, and claims that she has, and also this there is. This as it turns out to be the very note that she raised after bathing Ivanka. The man asks, really? This secret correspondence of Count Ronas with eldest maid? Giselle answers that that's exactly it. She also wondering why would eldest maid some kind cross paths with the Marquis Berthaud himself. The Duchess is in this time, claims that from everyone possible people, namely Count Ronas, who competes with them in trade magical devices, informs about imminent arrival, Marquis Berthaud. That's why she wondering if it really is this conspiracy. Home heroine asks, they say whether they're talking about a conspiracy, and it sounds so scary. She also interested in placing whether now Caitlin under supervision. Caitlin immediately screams that it's not true. After all they set her up, and she swears that never done nothing of the kind. But at that very moment, Juliana slaps her. She says that so many evidence it's obvious, and really the woman still claims that they set me up. But after all she warned Caitlin. What's wrong with her? Only one task. Think just now she didn't just dare steal valuable things for her back, but also cruelly contacted with weak. Therefore, there is no meaning put her under supervision. For the fact that the woman insulted them, the ducal family, and tarnished her name, she will serve an official complaint to the palace and send put her behind bars. Home heroine understands that this unexpectedly ideal punishment. I heard that Juliana personally brought him there, Caitlin, but she believes that this woman, she didn't like it as much as she thought. Caitlin in this time grabs Madame by the clothes and says that she can't do that. After all, really, I forgot about all that. I did this for her before moment. Juliana repels her hand and claims that rest she will listen in prison. Therefore, now let maid they will take away. Home heroine watches as they take away, and how woman screams. Girl understands that with one problem, we figured it out. But at that very moment, Juliana addresses the Duchess, Giselle Kalinos, also claims that I am grateful for that she did it. Her insolence, irritating behavior, excessive sensitivity, talent for inflating trifles, and shameless self-confidence. It is admitted that all this amazes imagination. Home heroine thinks it's an insult, this, or a compliment, but the first one option is, of course, preferable. Lady claims that I'm very glad that I was able to be them useful. Girl understands that she still doesn't hold a grudge against her, although her own authority could suffer, because with her consent, Caitlin got into the house, and she much more generous than she thought. But the girl also wonders why she's so anxious. Caitlin perfectly punished, and all her game was, she's gorgeous, so why doesn't she leave, feeling as if she just about will lose 5 billions. From that day on, apparently, her intervention that put end bullying in the house had an effect, where more effect than I was expecting one after another. Maids and servants of the family, the Kalinos began to approach her and thank her. One of them claimed that, think about it only, Madam went through all these troubles just for them. They thanked young mistress and claimed that from this moment will be protect her. They were able to find courage within themselves, thank young Madam. Home, the heroine, stirring the tea, thinks that she earned people's favor by the fact that I did it for my own sake benefits, and this, a little weird, but to have good reputation among families, it doesn't count violation conditions, contract. Young woman also looks at his own interlocutor, who claims that he never thought that, can catch someone in a lie with artifact, and young lady truly outstanding. Home heroine understands that she can't believe that begins like even Nislanu. She also thinks it was whether this reason, her yesterday's anxiety. The man in this time wonders how she came up with this idea. Home heroine replies that it's all thanks to what she's smart, possesses own a unique method of thinking about which other people don't know. Her companion says that here means like, and she possesses something truly amazing. Giselle is shocked. He wonders if he will really accept it so easily, such strange words. The girl can't believe that she pretended naive and idiot and demonstrated rude manners, but he doesn't react in any way. Which at all strategy works on this person. Lady also wonders how he came to create these artifacts, what her companion answers that this was hobby. For a swordsman mage, he were enough not bad skills. Home heroine wonders if he really said swordsman mage. Butler claims that yes, because the last duke is genius. What are born once in a generation. He is excellent wielded a sword, but his skills in handling mana, though time were different, allowed him to be put on the same level as his father lady, that is, Count Sahara. Home, the heroine is in shock thinks, really? This a genius on the level of Count Sahara. She only now took a closer look at the trophies on display. Young woman thinks, really, these are not trophies that the Magician of the Year is awarded in the Magical World Tower. It can't, to her father-in-law is all this time hid his true strength. In other words, he is the perfect victim who will be able to teach her incredible magic, which she will need it to become a great magician, and fully take revenge. Both of them garbage the main characters. in front of her, with eyes such a valuable nugget. The man in this time coughs and claims that once upon a time it was called that, but all that is in the past. He looks at his hand with red cough liquid and claims that now he is no more how sick body, and yet he is sincerely glad that before the end he was able to witness the marriage of his grace and the Duke and see how his artifact was found. Application. Home heroine asks what he means by the end, and her companion claims that he is incurable sick. The girl is in shock, thinks, really that's true, just don't let them tell her that the reason he was unt in the original history is that he was already dead. After this young woman he cries out, is he really incurable? Sick? And the man replies that yes, because he was told that the disease is not treatable treatment. In addition, according to family laws, Kalinos useless, leave to plunge into eternal sleep, so he asks, isn't it better should I just accept it? Home heroine understands that even if she knows future, then she does not know how to save the one whose health is so undermined, and he himself, it seems, doesn't want to at all. Live. Young woman also recalls how he said that he was unlucky enough to be trapped in a cave. Illusions created demonic creatures, and his eldest son died defending him. Giselle wonders if he feels guilty, thinking that his eldest son plunged into eternal sleep because of him. But this a huge problem. She, of course, cannot understand the heart of a parent who has lost child, but no one is better suited to the role of her teacher than Neslan. Lady, he thinks how he can help, and the mission is to save the teacher. Too complex. However, now home heroine looks ahead and thinks that what's more interesting is why Madame Juliana suddenly wanted to have tea with her, and really I didn't hate her. But at that very moment, someone screams for the gates of the mansion to open immediately. They open the door. The guy shouted that he heard his aunt was imprisoned. Families Kalinos. That's why to him need to find out that it happens so that they're opening the gates right now. Home heroine understands that there is a man there who calls Caitlin aunt. Really? This is Count Ronas. That one, the very one that is at the same time with that lousy first male character. The man screams again that he has said open the gate immediately. And the main thing heroine understands that passed just a day since Caitlin was taken into custody, and he was all ready to everyone found out. However, he has earned huge money on information that drained to him Caitlin, so hearing about her in conclusion, he apparently lost reason. Woman claims that this is Count Ronas, and she thinks it will be. It's better if young woman will go and sort this out. Home heroine asks. Really she talks about her, and understands that he doesn't want to attract attention of people outside families. Juliana claims that she always such quick with words, but now that she is the mistress of the house, is going to ignore affairs families. Home heroine understands that. Think about it only, and if she will make a scene there, then Juliana will hate her more and more. After what young woman claims that I understood, but he asks a maid, maybe whether she bring her something. Giselle understands that she will make a scene without showing it faces. A man near gate into this time screams, really, they at all? Have you lost your mind, and why? Nobody comes out, but at that very moment, someone approaches him and says, how has that made a noise? The guy in this time asks, is whether she won from families Kalinos. Home heroine understands that he is constantly hung around with that pathetic first one a hero, and still he doesn't recognize her. Or he can't even imagine that not very bright Giselle could have ended up in the Kalinos house. The man claims that it's wonderful, and he is Count Ronas. He came to see the great lady Juliana Kalinos, and he also has, it's up to her. That's why the lady won't let him pass. Home heroine answers that he's sorry, but they can't let his relatives in. Criminal. Her companion asks, really she talks about relatives criminal, and, judging by her appearance, the lady looks like a maid who was sent there on business. That's why she definitely will regret that treated him like that. And the main thing heroine says that it's so scary, and she won't stand it. Lady also turns to the gatekeepers, and says that they in no way, in this case, they did not open the gates, to which they agreed. When home heroine turns around, then the guy is in shock screams, really, she really will just leave. But the girl wonders if he really expected something else. There's no place for scary people there, so let him hurry up leaves. The man after this screams out to him, although I would just be allowed to talk to my aunt. Giselle understands that. As expected, he came because was worried that will lose his own informant. Even in he thinks about the situation, just about how would extract more information. But the girl says to be driven away, to which the servants agree. The man screams out to she waited, and wondered if it was really lady thinks she can get away with it insult. And let it be he'll wait, because he'll show her at the Aurum Fair this year. Heroine understands that, this great, because this time it's her speech and behavior were absolutely unbearable. And now it's Juliana, for sure will hate her. When young woman returns to Juliana, then addresses her as her mother, and asks how she liked the presentation, and she after all did a good job. But the woman after this only smirks and claims that this was not bad. After that, she got rid of Caitlin. That same was enough tolerable maneuver. Heroine thinks, really she says that this was tolerable. But this she acted recklessly, I didn't even think about it. Woman claims that the reason why she brought Caitlin into the family was that she believed that in their family, there shouldn't be the weak link. She was his own genus filter. But now she thinks that this role can perform, and Giselle, from now on they don't need dirty people like Caitlin Ronas, so what them necessary, stay away from such low-born people families. She also will talk to Duke Kalinos, and think about when announce the marriage. Therefore, Now let young woman finishes drinking your tea. Home, the heroine is in shock thinks. Really woman hated weak character, like the previous one Giselle. If would she knew right away would pretended pathetic, but who would could think that she will like its scandalous behavior. Lady understands that her from the past times does not leave strange feeling, so really, she really got into trouble. A little time later, the girl is already sitting against Hennessy. The man claims that at the Aurum Fair, they presented goblin slime, but, surprisingly, it potion no one was interested. Home heroine thinks that, that's right, and there they are, suffered failure. Man in this time asks, knows whether lady, what such is the Aurum Fair though would approximately. This is event to which even His Majesty Emperor draws special attention. As far as he knows, this place where nobles represent their research and discuss investments. That's why they should begin sell them their invention, find investors, and increase income. But from their potions alone, losses. But lady provided them Hallone's grass. That's why he is so ashamed in front of her. Home heroine understands that she already knew about it, but still, this amazing. Members' advice terrible at presentations, like engineering students. And that's why they are completely incapable of properly promoting a product. Lady looks at the bottle in front of him and thinks who at all will buy this a potion with such a tasteless design. Lady also says too, they just tried to sell how many it will work out, and you wouldn't dare sell results research another family without her permissions. The man replies that he understands, and the girl understands that render to him open help contradicts her image of being annoying special, so that will have to help secretly. Home heroine, also wondering what it is potion at all for myself represents. The man replies that this universal antidote. Girl looks at it and understands that this looks like impressively. If delve into the original plot stories, then maybe there will be some way to sell it. The man in this time claims that, by the way, Count Ronas brought very curious magical artifact. It's called recording magical artifact. An item that captivates reality is exactly as it is there is, only in black and white, because he created new magical artifact which never existed earlier. It seems to be Count Ronas will be the one who will attract more total attention at the fair this time. He is upset that family Ronas, threatening Kalinosum, receives recognition. But at the same time, the main thing heroine screams out to, they waited, because they have it at home. Something better. This is recording a magical artifact, and it captures all colors, not just black and white. A little time later, home the heroine is already speaking to the former duke, that's why she thought that would fine, sell his magical artifact at the Aurum Fair. She also asks father, what does he think? The man asks what good is this for him now, because the presentation at the fair has already ended. Heroine understands that self-esteem and confidence this human always were at zero. The man claims that if only he were more capable, then he would be of benefit family. Giselle understands that it is clear that he doesn't care wants try it, then young woman thinks it's worth it, whether a little push him. Young woman claims that father after all, one day, told her to live like she wants, and is interested, remembers whether he is. And in his place, I wouldn't miss this chance, because this beautiful, the opportunity to become the one who really needed family. Lady asks father, really? This is not true. But at that very moment, the man remembers how his eldest son, lying on the floor, all wounded, said father to go forward. People from their lands and the whole family waiting for him outside, as well as the Kalinos family needs it. Man in this time wonders if it is really needed their family. After what claims that, okay, he'll try too. Home heroine understands that, this great, and she has it too, it worked. The man in this time suggests she name it magical artifact with a barrel of boiling water orc blood. And outside, hang golden tassel heroine understands that he has a sense of beauty at all trouble. Therefore, it seems that she herself will have to study all marketing from start to finish. A little bit time later, the girl is already talking to another person. She asks, said whether doctor, what for treatment, more important, total the patient's own desire. If the enterprise with the magical artifact will be crowned with success, then profit will good. And for father, this will become a spark capable of awakening his extinguished confidence. The Duke asks, is it really so? She says that sale recording artifact will help financially family, and besides, it will give an incentive for the father to live on. Young woman answers that that's exactly it, and he showed it big interest in this business. If everything works out, then she believes that he will soon agree to treatment, and also she sincerely hopes that Sir Neslan will survive thanks to this possibilities. Vianton, watching the lady, understands that she really invests passion in everything does. Even when this was for her only contract work, girl gave all of herself. And now, with the same passion, she fights for the life of the one who isn't even related to her, just like that summer, when his older brother was exterminating monsters on their land. Day after day, my brother trained for 10 hours, always putting the people of their lands above in total, as befits a worthy successor families. The Duke admired them immeasurably. A little some time ago, the guy approached his brother and claimed that he wants it so much sleep. Well, and his interlocutor, I told the guy to look, because over there is the northern one shine. He also asked if the radiance is not beautiful, and someday let the guy come back there with my loved one man. Young man claimed that then he again will come with his brother, because the one he loves more in total, this is his brother. The man said, what a liar the guy is, because he is more total loves their research, and the young man claimed that it's true. But before he could add anything, his brother patted him on the head and insisted that everything was fine, because to him, very like read his works. When will he become head family? Then build for him huge research institute under his name. There they are. Even will be raise manual monsters. Boy asked if it was true this, and then he will grow up gigantic troll. He will be take care of it and brush its fur every day. But a little time later, the brother was already setting off on a dangerous journey mission. Boy grabbed his brother by the cloak and screamed that he had calculated all the probabilities, and this battle with the monsters was bad for him will end. Let the soldiers deal with it and stay there, because he can fight next time. But the man patted his brother on the head and claimed that even if this dangerous, then he has no choice. However, he is obliged to protect their genus. Well, if he doesn't come back, then they family and lands will be under protection. Vientiane, the brother he loved, more of all things in the world, was plunged into eternal sleep by monsters. A promise to return alive dissipated into the void. The people he saved, with devotion in their hearts, forgot it, continuing live his own life. In those days, endless he inherited the post of head of the void, that must was, go to the brother. And the relationship in them family collapsed. But even from he learned his lesson from this. There is no meaning in life, and there is none. Values for which it was worth it, would fight. Only research that leaves tangible, the results remain unchanged. So instead of empty, he will dedicate his life myself, entirely, science. But now, the guy asks why. The lady is so sure that her father suddenly a zeal for life awakened, and maybe, he their help to no avail. Young woman replies that it is true or not, no one can know for sure. But, according to her in my opinion, Sir Nislan still wants to live, because he is impatient, waited this. I felt that deep down, he had the will to live, there is. Home heroine recalls how he, with a smile on his face, claimed that added there another function, and asked what she thinking about it. Recently, time father really again became smile. The Duke asks, really? She personally will help with the sale magical artifact. Home heroine answers that yes, that's exactly it. To work on behalf of families, she already found an accountant from Florette's house. It seems the family usually uses the services of merchants for distribution their own goods. The man asks, is it really? She has already prepared everything, and it is so impressive. He also claims that once asked one question, and wonders where she got it from, so many passion for everything that would she, no, I was doing it. Giselle replies that it's more likely there, it's not about passion. She just doesn't want to. Reach the last one's moments his own life with regrets about that she didn't do it. Regrets they are tiring, but life shorter than it seems. And since this her life, then it is will simply choose what will do her for real happy. Sometimes, these elections can give happiness to others. So she thanks his lordship for his cooperation in creating her parts. After what are people asking for? Forgive her. After all she should to do checking sales of magic artifacts. Man in this time repeats the words that life is short, so she will choose what will bring her happiness. After what does he think? What was he like a loser? A little bit. Time later recording Lord Nesland's magical artifact, presented at the Aurum Fair, produced a stunning furor. This absolutely new, a magical artifact from the House of Kalinos. It was flawless, visualization, and free 1-month trial period. And also with serial numbers engraved on each product, which provide exchange and return. All this helped him conquer big popularity. And the main thing is this, a demo reel exposing Caitlyn's misdeeds Ronus. He called, indignation against rival house Ronus and hit their sales hard. The Duke says, what a joy that the recording artifact sold so well. It's just a pity that they didn't use the name that came up with father. The day before, in the evening, the guy asked why the name was a barrel of boiling water. Orcish blood is considered a bad example names because he thinks that this sounds very cool. Home heroine understands that if they really are, if they released a product under this name, then would complete failure. In any case, now Caitlyn is defeated, and the money count Ronus's stream definitely dried up. At this time, someone else comes up to their table. This turns out Neslan. The man says that today such beautiful weather, and maybe they two go on a date. Home heroine from this, I was a little surprised, and asked if he was really talking about a date. The man replied that yes, and he thought it would be great to capture their two enjoying pastime together, after all such memories priceless. The Duke wanted to object, but the heroine interrupted him at that very moment, and asserted that, okay, but I was wondering if it was possible whether them go only together. Girl understands that, it's not like that already an impossible request, and she still was going to somewhere get out, so everything is fine, coincided. A little time later, the girl is already handing her darling a piece dessert, and offers to him say, after what feeds him. The man claims that it seems to have 1.8% more sugar, accepted norms. Home heroine understands that for such as she, who has been alone since birth, finds herself in the present date, seems a little awkward. But, by the way, this material should be enough to show Neslanu. At the same moment, someone claims that this A promotion, for those who find it difficult to afford a recording artifact. The man says that they can enjoy free rent 2.5 months, and receive a high-quality product as a gift sapphire. Home heroine thinks, really the person is not just a puppet director, manager by the company on behalf of Count Ronus. The Duke claims that Count Ronas copies their sales strategy. Home heroine claims to be smarter than she thought, since it was so fast got my bearings. Young woman also watches his own interlocutor and wonders if he is upset because of plagiarism. But if there would be an artifact in which her father put his soul into it, they pushed it aside. Would same kept it secret offense. Man in this time asks why give a period of 2.5 months. After all, this not even a whole number. 1 month, or there were 2, would more logical solution. Home heroine understands that this is not about that, now cost to think about. The lady immediately rises with his own places, and claims that she is in the mood spoiled by the scene where they are copied so brazenly. After what she offers come back, because today date finished. Home heroine also understands that they already stopped filming. But the guy just puts his hand on her shoulder and says okay, after all they can go home. Giselle, he wonders if he has really decided her a company. This is somehow too much suddenly even for their so-called dates, and the like behavior for him atypical. Home heroine wonders if he really wanted her console, and apparently he really does worries because of the artifact Nazlana. Girl tells him not to worry, because how many would they're no copied, she had it on her hands, more strong trump cards. Lady claims that she will do so that artifacts' fathers were still being sold better under her management. A little time after a while, an advertisement appears on the artifact. There's one of Lady asks, they are interested whether people, what is it takes up in the last days? After what replies that she is at the opera house, enriches the soul by listening beautiful voices. After what savors invigorating lime juice, what explodes taste on the tongue during presentations. And after performance, why I wouldn't mind having a cup of rich coffee in the main branch of the cafe. The accountant says that, think about it, only these advertising appear every time at startup and shutdown recording artifact. Society is in turmoil, and everyone is competing. They're trying their copy. Some even they claim that without such an artifact, it's impossible to make acquaintances. After, what does a man ask? What about a lady? Giselle thought of this. Since came out, this advertisement says that the opera house seats are sold out every day. And they even asked for an extension advertising campaign on recording artifacts. If things continue like this, then next year it will be able to expect 100 million a month. Results so impressive as others businesses are lining up to advertise on their artifacts. Home heroine asks if it is so this, and then them needs to be changed regularly. Advertisers to users are not tired of the monotony. Lady smiles and thinks about 100 million a month, even after deduction distribution costs, remains about 70 million clean arrived. The man also claims that there are more coffee shops, new and permanent clients. Young woman asks if it's true this, and really, this same, thanks to advertising. The man replies that people have been lining up since early morning, only would get there. Although with the advent of other coffee shops, nearby sales have fallen slightly from their peak demand. Home heroine wonders if everyone is really busy with what copy her, and thinks that nothing, after all original, always, is valued higher copies. People always prefer genuine imitations. The man says that it's clear, but there are already rumors that he is only formal head of Kamara. After what is he interested in? It's not dangerous. Whether this is Lady, replies that no, until he reveals it, her true personality. Young woman also is interested, remembers whether he has a confidentiality clause in the contract. It says that if he reveals to outsiders that this owner trading company's Kamar is Giselle Kalinos, then he is obliged to return all money received during this period. The man replies that, of course, and Giselle claims that, then question closed. At the same moment, one of maids addresses the young to the lady and asks where she is being sent. The girls immediately say that today Madam again, incredibly beautiful heroine, understands that since I dealt with Caitlin, the servants began treat her kinder.